What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Coop in the building, Mike D in the building. How you doing today, sir?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. It's always good to be here on a Friday. Unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of new music to talk about, but we always got some hip hop to talk about. Let me make sure we get this Patreon up to the top too, because we're gonna be really getting to it on this Patreon this Monday. I
You
got my
know,
list. Well, it's coming together.
yeah, it's coming together nicely. With it being Nas's birthday the other day, I've been like on a big Nas dig and just finding stuff I was bringing to you that we forgot the ultimate high with nature that
Mm,
had Nas on there too. It's not mistaken. That's him on that hook too.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
Um,
mean. This is like so. You and I were just talking behind the scenes, and it's like, no, this has definitely been. It's been a slander campaign against him. He's not a good beat picker. Incorrect. We were just listen. You just sent me Foul Breeze. I'm like, that beat might be better than the beat the do rags. I'm like, that's borderline do rags level.
I think I like the
Uh,
Foul Breeze
he's-
beat better than the one that Busta Rhymes used.
yeah. I mean, what? He doesn't write hooks. Well, you and me I was just giving you like made you look and I gave you power. It's like no hook game's always been tight. No, we're not talking about his lyrics.
No, that's the last thing you're gonna talk about. I was going through the chat and I was just going through some of the songs that I wasn't familiar with, and yeah, I pulled up Foul Breeze. That's a crazy record. It's dude
It's
spit.
everywhere. No, it's like, but listen, it's like three dope ass borderline classic album worth of material of like unreleased stuff, not lost tape stuff, but like truly unreleased stuff.
I went back and listened to the season too, the Dilla joint. Crazy.
That's the other joint that I was about to bring up was the season joint with Jilla. This shit crazy.
Yeah, man. Listen, there's nobody, and again, I know the Jay Z fans always feel like we, throwing him in the conversation. There's nobody on the level of Nas that has the amount of unreleased material that he has. And now looking at it, shoot, look at this little thing that we put out there kind of went viral or whatnot. Looking at the catalog, album for album, nobody really has this either. And that's not even counting the unreleased stuff. Like you said, he has a good 3, 4 albums of unreleased material that could be added to this. And I know the people were saying that we left off Lost Tapes too. I only had so much room in the
Right.
graphic. So
Hold
yeah,
on,
Lost
look.
Tapes 2 in the firm and the
And
QB
QB's
was,
finest.
yeah, left out. Yeah.
Think
What up,
about it. Isn't
everybody in the
self
chat?
conscious and find your wealth on QB's finest?
Exactly.
Bars.
Somebody said we need to check out Simba's album. Did y'all like it?
I heard that we might need to check it out. We'll circle around back on him and on EST.
I mean, you got hood classics, you know what I'm saying? Like, Nas does that. I think the only thing that he lacks in the eyes of many is like those crossover classics.
So I told you, he just doesn't have those Tupac Biggie records. He doesn't have a Dear Mama, a One More Chance, a California Love, a Juicy. He doesn't have that. He has everything else.
But we have to
Everything
ask
else. It's
ourselves,
like
what is hip hop built on? Not the hit records, the streets.
streets.
Yeah.
I'm just going through some of this stuff. It's just like, it's ridiculous, Mike. I mean, it's really ridiculous to think that somebody has done this much work on stuff that got released as a single and not a single. Like the stuff that didn't get released as a single, the list of his stuff that hasn't been released as a single, like just the features. Let's go to the features. The features, it's absurd.
You
It's
got
absurd.
you
It's
got them
literally
written
just
down? Go through the
literally
features real quick.
like the ones. Okay, so let's go through the features that are actually considered singles. That's Fast Life with Cool G Rap. Gimme Yours with AZ, Head Over Heels with Allure, Love Is All We Need, Mary, Grand Finale off the Belly soundtrack, Hot Boys, Did You Ever Think, It's Mine, Sincerity, The Ultimate High, Thank God I Found You, I'm Gonna Be Alright, J-Lo and Nas.
I
That
remember
was the
that.
record that caused the rift between him and 50 because 50 was on the original version and Columbia wanted Nas because Nas was the star.
Forgot about that. Hold on, Dame with the super chat says, Coop, you pick Spicy as the best song on KD, and that's a bonus track, but you don't allow bonus tracks for Life is Good. Ah, the Life is
Wow,
Good
that's
fans.
fair. Give me 27 Summers.
Okay.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, no. Hold me to it. I forgot Spicy was a bonus track. Sounds so damn good in the speakers. Yeah, give me 27 Summers. Thug Mansion, which is technically a Tupac song too, I guess. Too Much for Me, the DJ K Slay joint. I forgot about that, the A. Marie and Fox joint.
I forgot about that. Where he didn't show up to the video, right? Something like
correct.
that. Yeah.
Correct. That was a Foxy thing, I think. Quick to Back Down. Nas and Lil Jon with the Bravehearts. In Public with Khalees. Blackout with Mashonda. Road to Zion with Damian Marley. Blindfold Me with Khalees. My President, Young Jeezy. Too Many Rappers, Beastie Boys featuring Nas. I forgot totally about that.
Forgot about that. Yo, back to that Damian Marley joint. That shit was hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fall in Love, Estelle featuring John Legend and Nas. I forgot about that. Ghetto Dreams, So Fresh, CJ Hilton, Blame, Kayla, Free, Rudimentio, and Emeli Sandy. Hustle, Rocco, I Am Somebody, Chains, Usher, The Sickness, Dilla. Figure It Out, French Montana with Kanye and Nas. I forgot about that one too. That's around the Nasir time. Rodeo, Lil Nas X, and Die For It, Belly in the Weekend. So that's just the stuff that's released as single. But when you get to the stuff that's not singles, it's like, dude.
He's got a lot of work, man. And I mean, and with a pig game so crazy.
Listen, this is what I mean. The guest appearances. Look, you're going to have to tell me to stop at some point because this is how long it is. Because it starts at the top, Live at the Barbecue, Back to the Grill, One-on-One, More Money, More Murder, More Homicide, Verbal Intercourse, Eye for an Eye, Affirmative Action Remix, 1+1, Give It Up Fast, Escobar 97, the Nas skit off the Alcoholics album, The Prophecy, How You Living, John Blaze, Body in the Trunk, Turn It Out with Jermaine Dupri, Soundtrack to the Streets, Kid Capri, Money Makes the World Go Round, R. Kelly, Tama off the Timbaland album, Queen's Finest, DJ Clue, Blood Money Part 2. Where do we go from here? Master P and Mac. Me and Nas Bring It to You Hardest with Slick Rick. You Made Me, the Harlem World joint. Want It with E Money Bags and Horse. Esco intro with E Money Bag. Thug Calm Down with E Money Bag and Noriega. It's Mine. Mommy with Cha Cha. Journey Through Life with Diddy and Siegel. Millennium Thug with Funk Flex and Big Cap. I really want to show you. That's the Born Again joint. Thank God I Found You. I Still Gotta Have It. Be Easy with Capone and Noriega. Let My Niggas Live. Live from the Bridge. I Can't Take No More. Gangsta's Tears. Queen's Day. Finer Things. Show Discipline from Kiss. Let Them Hang. We're only at 2001 right now, Mike.
It's a lot of work. Jay Short with the super chat says, Queens Get the Money intro is the best off of Untitled. He was spitting on Breed too.
You know who did that beat?
Who's that?
Jay Electronica.
Ah.
Queens Get the Money. That's a Jay Electronica.
He did do that. I do remember that.
Yeah. I mean, you want me to keep going? Because it keeps going. That's what I mean. We're at Show Discipline off Kiss's first album.
Keep going.
Okay.
They say we just be, gas and shit. We're just going off of the facts.
Let Them Hang with Lakey the Kid, Good Life, Nate Dogg, some of them, Devin the Dude, Who You Rep With. I forgot about Who You Rep With 50 Cent and the Bravehearts. That's one of the first times I heard 50. Too Hot, 50 Cent and Nature. That's one of the first times I heard 52. You Wanna Be Me off the 8 Mile soundtrack. We forgot about that. The Essence with AZ. That's one of their best records together. The Pledge remix, Ja Rule and Ashanti. Stay Chiseled, Large Professor. We forgot about Stay Chiseled. That shit hard. In Between Us with Scarface. The Salute Me remix, Fat Joe and Cassidy. Play Me with Korn. TikTok, The Alchemist and Prodigy. Grand Finale, Lil Jon. Can't Fade Me, Cassidy and Quan. Material Things, Jelly Black. We Major off Late Registration. Living in Pain, the Duets Biggie album. Escobar 2006 and War off the DJ Clue album. Music for Life, High Tech, Common and Dilla. Choir Song, Nation. We're at 2006. Money Machine, Nation. Level 7, Nation. Why You Hate the Game off the Game's album, Dr. Advocate. I Want You remix, Lloyd and Andre 3000. Get to Know Me with Joe. Full Stop, Victoria Beckham. Gun for Gun with Killer Priest. Shakedown, Akon, Ali Vegas. Success with Jay-Z. Who hasn't he done work with? Ghetto Rich with Rich Boy, Lil Wayne, and John Legend. The Real Hip Hop with KRS-One. Gangsta Rap Made Me Do It remix with Ice Cube and Scarface. I See You Coming, Trey Williams. The Don't Touch Me remix with Busta. Letter to the King with The Game. I'm On with DJ Khaled. NYC, Kevin Rudolph. Oh Yeah, 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 Keisha Cole. Topless, Dr. Dre, T.I., and Eminem. Game of Love, Nat King Cole. Usual Suspects, Rick Ross. If I Rule the World, '09 with Marsha Ambrosius. What If with Jadakiss off the Locks Kiss. Yacht Music with Willie the Kid and Scarface off the DJ Drama.
Jeez.
Why Are You with A. Marie and Jadakiss. Film by Nas. That's off the Red Bull Big Tunes. I mean, he literally just throws shit at you everywhere. Victory, DJ Khaled, Heartbeat. We're only in 2010. Do you want me to keep going?
Go ahead, keep going. I was gonna say, what was that record? Turn Up the Mics. Let's get crazy. That was the Bumpy Knuckles premiere remix.
We might not be there yet.
Okay.
Street Riders, Game and Aiken, I already went there. Soldier Survivors, Jadakiss and Sheik Luke, The Champ Is Here 3. I remember that one. That was dope too. Rich and Black, Raekwon. It's a Tower Heist with Rick Ross off the Tower Heist soundtrack. Him and Ross have done a lot of work together.
Yeah.
Too Many Rappers, Beastie Boys. We went through that already. The outro to the Carter 4 with Bun B and Lil Wayne and Shine and Busta. Get It Forever, Mobb Deep. Feel Inside, Mary J. Blige. Like Smoke, Amy Winehouse. Regeneration, DJ Premier. Triple Beam Dreams. I love Triple Beam Dreams. Rick Ross. Nothing to Lose, Kanan. Kings and Queens, Tyga and Wale. Running, Melanie Fiona. I forgot about Melanie Fiona. She was dope.
Mm-hmm.
Champion, Nicki Minaj, Drake, Young Jeezy. Something, Nelly Furtado. Chain Glow, Cocaine 80s. This Thing of Ours, Omarion, Wale, Rick Ross. Mirage, Chris Brown. Hip Hop, DJ Khaled, Scarface Premiere. That's off the Kiss the Ring. I remember that.
That was dope.
Yeah, that was dope. Maybach Curtains with Meek Mill and Rick Ross. I told you, him and Ross have done a lot of work together. That's why Ross said he wanted to executive produce his Nas album. They've done tracks together, like a ton of tracks. First Chain, Big Sean and Kid Cudi off Hall of Fame. Remember Big Chain? First Chain? I forgot about that record. He's got stuff everywhere. Serious with AZ. BBC with Jay-Z and Pharrell. Too Late with The Alchemist. Refuse to Listen with Doggy. Dedicated with Mariah. Trouble with Jennifer Lopez. We Them Boys remix with Khalifa. The Studio remix with Schoolboy Q. Vinny Vetti Vici with Madonna. Something to Believe In with Aloe Black. Forbes List, Dave East. The Ghetto with The Game off the documentary 2.5. We Are, Justin Bieber. The God remix, Young Jeezy. Rain with Jadakiss off the Top 5 Dead or Alive album. I forgot about Rain. That's another dope one. One of Us, Rick Ross. I told you they've done a ton of work together. You see how many times he's worked with Ross, right?
Yeah.
He's worked with Ross more than he's worked with Jay and Kiss combined. Right. March Madness remix with Future. Figure It Out with French Montana. Tell Your Friends remix with The Weeknd. This Bitter Land, Erykah Badu. Nas album done. Personal favorite, DJ Khaled. Black Man in a White World, Michael Kiwanuka. War with Ray. Elevate interlude with Alicia Keys. Wrote My Way Out, Dave East. Die Young, Chris Brown. It's Secure, DJ Khaled. On the Road Again, Jack White. One Mic, Jack White. Sorry, Nicki Minaj. Echo, another personal favorite of yours and mine. Echo might have been the best rap song that year. Swiss. Won't Take My Soul. I forgot about that. DJ Khaled and CeeLo Green. Godfather 4, Dave East. 10K Hours, Janae Aiko. Until I Met You, Alina Baraz. EPMD with Hit Boy, Sorry Not Sorry, Bath Salts, Walking in the Rain, Too Many Goats, and most recently Conflicted with Snoop Dogg. Wow. That's not his unreleased stuff. That's the guest appearance stuff.
Wow. And then you count the unreleased stuff, and then you count all of this stuff. And
his catalog, right.
I mean,
good night.
I mean, the quality speaks for itself.
Good night.
But the quantity is, you can't match.
Good night. It's like this. It's like, no, he's got LeBron's stats, but he's got Mike's finals numbers. It's like, no. He's 6 for 6 in the finals, but it's like he's got all the rebounds, points, assists, blocks, like all those stat stuffer things that you want. No, he does all that, and he's got like championship rings.
Andrew
like
Green
he literally has 6 of them, because you can go to 6 of his albums and maybe be like, that might have been the best rap album that year. It was top 3. It's like, yeah, he's got that.
Shout out to Andrew Green with the
got that.
Shout out to Andrew Green with the $20 super chat. Says Peace Kings. Have you guys heard the original version of No Ideas Original? It had a different beat, not the Barry White sample. I have Stillmatic CD where it has the bonus track exclusive to Circuit City stores. Fire. You know, and that's another thing, since you want to mention that, there are a lot of different versions of songs too, where a third verse here is different. You just sent me one earlier today.
Well, it's like I told you, Mike, and you said it yourself. To quote you, well, he's a writer's writer. I've gone on this show many times and said, well, the thing about him is that, well, he can write that song 1, 2, 3 times if you need him to. How many of these other guys can say that too? Like, he doesn't just have more material than these guys on every level. He literally is in the studio out writing them, as in, I can write 6 or 7 or 8 verses. Fuck your 3. And that's why the Andre 3000 thing is so valid, because you can't tell me that this is the same thing. This guy can walk in the studio and write 8 to 10 verses.
And you know what? It's not like, and I love Andre, but it's not like that we go out there and we find unreleased verses from Rosa Parks or something. You know what I mean? Or like an alternative version of, artist storytelling or elevators or something. No, what you got is what you got. You know what I'm saying?
No, here's what I will share with you, Mike. And I don't know if you remember this. They came on the radio that summer in '96 when they dropped ATLiens, and I very vividly remember Big Boy telling all of us that they recorded 30 tracks for ATLiens. And that they were going to probably repackage the stuff that didn't make it. Because I think Greg Street was talking to him. He's like, so what's up? He's like, the other stuff wasn't good enough to make it. They're like, oh, no, the other stuff is fire. It just didn't fit with what we was trying to do, but we're probably going to release that at, some other point, the B-sides. I remember them talking about releasing the B-sides to ATLiens.
Well,
so I know that there's some ATLiens track somewhere, because Dre and Big Boy were in the studio down here in Atlanta the summer of 1996 and said they recorded 30 tracks for ATLiens. Now, there's only 13 songs on that album.
ATLiens celebrated 25 years last year. They did a whole 25th anniversary release, and there were no new songs on that. They just had like instrumentals.
Like they did not get on this radio as like 21 and 22-year-old men and tell us that they recorded 30 songs.
No. I'm not saying that. Maybe those songs got used somewhere else. Maybe like Everlasting's one of those. You know what I mean?
I was thinking Everlasting. When I hear Spaghetti Junction, Mike, every time I hear Spaghetti Junction.
Possibly.
But Spaghetti Junction doesn't fit anywhere on ATLiens, but it fits right on in with Southern Playalistic.
Yeah, you know what? Somebody at the dungeon holler at us, man, because we want to know what happened to the rest of those, 17 other tracks that would be?
It was at least, they said they recorded 30 tracks for ATLiens on the radio live in 96.
Well, another album that I want to know about in the dungeon, too, was that Pimp Trick Gangsta Click album. You know,
I love that. I love that name.
Well, that group, I don't know if you read the article. It was an article that was in Rolling Out, I think, and they were celebrating one of the anniversaries of Akumanai. It might have been the 20th. Don't quote me. But anyway, they interviewed everybody that was involved in that process, including Andre 3000. And they said that Pimp Trick Gangsta Click was actually a group with Andre, CeeLo, and Sleepy Brown. And they recorded a few songs together. That's what they say.
Devastating. Devastating stuff.
In 1998, you got Sleepy Brown, CeeLo, and Andre 3000 in a group called Pimp Trick Gangsta Click. They were going to put it out, but they recorded a few songs, and I guess they scrapped it. Where are those songs at?
All I got to tell you, Mike, is that you're making a rough week even rougher. All right? You're not helping at all.
We got Midget SQ with the super chat says, Nas' war is necessary, is a serious cutoff, the GTA 5. Yeah.
Yeah. So listen, the stuff that I just went down are his guest appearances. That's not his stuff. Yeah. Those are his contributions to other people's stuff.
And yeah, so that's not counting, look, all these albums that we got here and the 3 that we got missing and the stuff that was cut off of there.
And the stuff that's just personally unreleased by him, which is greater than the list that I read out. That's what I'm saying. The list of his unreleased stuff is longer than the list of what I read out. I
don't think there's anybody that has unreleased material to the magnitude of him.
No, it's not. I don't even think it's plausible at this point because he's been relevant and relative for so long. And you start realizing how timeless his songs are. Like when you hear The Foul Breeze, you have to ask yourself, well, when did he record this?
I have no idea.
Right. Hold
on. Michael Williams with the super chat says, listening to your segment on P&B and LA gang culture reminded me of Nas's lyric on KD2 when he said, Sunny LA, remember call Dre. And I thought about that too. He told me, don't let the palm trees fool you. Nigga be safe. I thought about that too, actually. And to speak on that segment, it was somebody in the comments that felt like we were victim blaming. I don't want it to come across as that. I think I clearly said in the video or in our episode the other day that no one's to blame but the shooter. But be safe is all I said. Be safe. Be smart.
I'm not apologizing because I know we clarified and orated ourselves properly and appropriately the first time that person just took it the wrong way. We were very clear multiple times that there was no blame to be had on anybody but who pulled the trigger. We were just talking and more or less just having a conversation on street etiquette and how to be safe to remove yourself from those types of situations. Those conversations are separate.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's again, man, there's a lot of things that shouldn't be done, but if you put yourself in a situation and they happen, it's still the person who did it to blame, but you have to make sure you look after yourself. Like the quote just said that Michael Williams just gave us from KD2. That's it. Be safe. You know?
Don't let the palm trees fool you. Be safe. Because here's the thing. Okay, so you know what dopamine is, right, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
It's that thing that hits you, like when somebody hugs you, it gives you a shot of dopamine. Okay, so Cali has a lot of dopamine hits to it. Like, you'll get out there, you'll be feeling the weather. Oh, it's 75 degrees, it's sunny, the palm trees are literally flowing. You know what I'm saying? Beautiful women everywhere of all types of varieties and varietals. You go to your local medicinal store, get you something herbal, make you feel nice. No, you can get caught slipping real easy in Cali. It's set up for you to get caught slipping. It's got, what did Biggie say? Going back to Cali strictly for the weather, women, and the weed. Sticky green. That's all dopamine, Mike. Weather, weed, women. Dopamine. Dopamine relaxes you. It makes you happy. Right. Mm-hmm.
Man there with the super chat says, in my opinion, only Nas's catalog in on the level of Pac's work. Guess he means only Pac's work ethic reached that level. Yeah, I mean, and probably. Pac's no longer here, you know, so he's been able to continuously do this over two decades, after Pac's, you know, not active and, I mean, not alive, for lack of a better term. So we got to give him flowers for that, man. I mean,
it's so hard to quantify because of the gravity of Pac's stardom and voice, literally his voice and his message. It's like you said, Mike, it's so hard to qualify where he might be right now because he was actively like pursuing an acting career.
Right.
And it looked like in John Singleton, he had found a director that wanted to cultivate him towards that, it seems. And money-wise, I don't think we need to have that conversation or that discourse. I mean, he could have ended up on Broadway for all we know.
Well, Man says he meant to say on the level of Pac's. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that when you really look at it, the work ethic is on the, I mean, they're on a very similar level of work ethic. I think that the only difference is Pac was able to release his stuff. He was able to release back-to-back in ways that seemed like Nas was being prohibited for the material that he was able to put out at a certain amount of time. Angel Green with the super chat says, looking back at it, at the unreleased catalog, do y'all think Sony dropped the ball not releasing that stuff? Or are some of them better as rare gems? I think things happen the way they're supposed to. I think that them being rare gems really helps. If there was any ball dropped, it was probably I Am, and that's about it. Because if I Am comes out in the way it's supposed to, Nostradamus doesn't happen the way that it happens.
I mean, I don't know, Mike. When I hear stuff like do-rags, like that comes out on the lost tapes, it's hard to feel like they didn't drop the ball because, I mean, that has it's absurd that didn't get released around that time. Like, that's classic, like, Nas in pocket of who Nas is, Nas does, what Nas represents as an MC, as a New Yorker to the community, to the Black ethos. And like, no, so they're like blatant missteps when you go through moments of his catalog. Like, no, it's just blatant. It's blatant. It's like, Mike, I'm telling you, like, Jay was running Def Jam. Where y'all at didn't make Hip Hop Is Dead? Sabotage. That's what I'm talking about. Where y'all at didn't make Hip Hop Is Dead? Hip Hop Is Dead's not one of his best 5 albums. It's one of his worst 5 albums. So it's like when something like Where Y'all At floats around instead of finding its way onto the project, it's like, nope, you failed. That's a 3. That. Mike, on a good day, that album's a 3.5. On a good day.
Well, you talk about A&R all the time. Any and every of Nas's missteps, if we look at his catalog and look at the unreleased stuff as a whole, those are A&R missteps. Yeah. Somebody at those labels who were putting these records out should have been like, no, we're putting Foul Breeze on here and we're taking this off. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's that simple. Like, how about this? For whatever you say about like track masters when it was written, well, the only misstep it appears on it was written is the fact that Silent Murder didn't find its way onto the CD. It found its way onto the tape, but not the CD. Right. I think that's more label than that is A&R. That meant somebody around him was like, "Nah, we dropping this one way or the other." Yeah. See, what I'm saying is, so part of the legend of the song, like, no. Somebody around him was like, "No, we putting this song out somewhere, fam. I don't think you understand. Right. That's Silent Murder."
Yeah, because that could have been one of those unreleased too.
And then you go to something like that Watch Them Niggas verse that I sent you. Well, that third verse that I sent you, it lyrically and technically is better, but the finish isn't as smooth and doesn't glide into the hook as well. And A&R was sitting there that heard that third verse is like, no, that third verse is better. This third verse sounds better.
Yeah.
That verse. Right.
Yeah. It's a lot of that going on when it comes to his catalog. And when you listen to songs like Star Wars, On the Real, it's like, okay, so y'all put this on the 10th anniversary of Illmatic and not on an actual album. It's weird.
No, in fairness to them, a lot of the stuff that I feel like recorded between, how about this? The bars that should have been on It Was Written, they found their way onto other classic stuff in 95, i.e. Eye for an Eye, Verbal Intercourse, Fast Life, More Money, More Murder, More Homicide. So it's not that time period of the unreleased stuff. It's the stuff after that where it starts becoming a problem. It's like, and this is what I mean. Well, Trackmasters got It Was Written Right. You know, history would show. Steve Stout mostly got It Was Written Right. History would show. But then the very next year on the Firm album, Firm Biz?
Yeah.
You heard Phone Tapping, you released Firm Biz.
Esquire with the super chat says, told my wife this morning, this is the best hip hop podcast I've ever tuned into, of many. Yeah, y'all will be running this lane in 5 years at this pace. Much love. I appreciate that, Esquire. We appreciate you tuning in and you kicking ass on our Thursday night trivias too. Andrew Green with another super chat says, people tried to act like Nas was lazy, only releasing every couple of years. By people, you mean Jay-Z. Now, it is more evident that the work ethic was always there.
No, it's bigger
that's
than
a
Jay,
misconception
Mike.
That I've always been fed
No, Mike, when this happened, it's bigger than Jay, Mike.
It's the publications?
They're listen.
One album in 10 years, nigga, it was like 4 albums in 10 years, nigga, I could divide. Come on. That line really stood out because it was a reflection of it was a false narrative of his work ethic.
But no. But see, this is what I mean is that, well, how do I say this? See, Tupac's always gonna kick some knowledge. But Tupac always gonna make a song for the, you know what I'm saying? It's always gonna be a how do you want it? And I get around. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
You can't count on Nas to give you that. And the industry knew that. And therefore, the rhetoric that he espouses that is very much comparable to Tupac's is not going to get the push from the label to come out as fast as Tupac because he ain't talking to the way Pac is. You feel what I'm saying? Straight up. And that's just how it goes. That's how it went.
Jay Short with the super chat says, crazy how the younger kids now see Nas as the cool, tech savvy one and Jay-Z as the somewhat inauthentic and a throwback. The narrative has reversed with Generation Z. You know what's funny? And again, I was watching Real Housewives of Atlanta with the wife, right? And
I'm sorry to hear that, Mike. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah, sometimes you got to take one.
Mike, everybody.
Sometimes you got to take one for the team, right? But anyway,
I used to take a lot for the team, Mike. I know.
but Kenya was on there talking about Autumn. You know, she's a video model, this, that, and the third, and she kept talking about money and the thing. And we got in this conversation like, how many music videos has Kenya actually really been in? And went and looked it up, and it was 3. And you know which music video she was in before Money Ain't a Thing?
What?
Street Dreams. Remember that? She was the main person in Street Dreams.
It was Ginger.
Interesting, right?
Right.
Interesting choice, Jay. Very, very suave there. I never really put those two things together, but yeah. She was Ginger in Street Dreams, and then Money Ain't a Thing. Boom.
So, Mike, Mike, you know some of my
and I thought about that "You're the Man" line too, when Nas was like, you know what I'm talking about. Go ahead, my bad.
Yeah. No. Totally understand. I've taken care of her before, and her husband. Because I used to, work for one of the housewives once upon a time. Just contractually, Mike, can't tell you anything due to contracts.
Of course.
Confidentiality's being signed.
Of course. And that's cool.
Yeah, because everything that takes place within their space, you're liable for, contractually. But I've dealt with her once or twice before in that space. She's a fascinating character, Mike.
I can imagine. Yeah. Ran into her at the Apple store one time. Fascinating person. Andrew Green with the super chat says Def Jam ended up throwing Where You At and The End on the label compilation album with all their artists. Shaking my head. Those songs got buried on that project. Yeah.
I forgot about The End. That should have been on there too.
Yeah. Yep. Esquire with the super chat says Taken in Blood additional verse is crazy too. Who else has this kind of stuff? You know what I mean? Like, who else has like hidden verses and it's amazing. Let's see, Michael Williams with another super chat.
The people that are saying that Firm Biz is for radio play. Here's what I want you to understand about the phone tap beat. Faith and Carl Thomas took it and made it an R&B song. There's what you make. There's a such thing as a radio hit, and then there's shit that just slaps, and you can tell when you hear it. Mike, you remember the first time you heard Phone Tap? It was like, that's it.
Love that.
There it is. There's your banger.
I think.
Good night. End of story.
Eminem
should be having these sorts of conversations, and if you had a real A&R, the real A&R would tell you, we releasing what? Be like, nigga, we not releasing any of that with me on there as an A&R. If you don't get your ass in this car so we can go to this video shoot for Phone Tap.
Hold on. Eminem brought up that Phone Tap beat in his XXL interview.
Mike, I've always told you that's one of his favorite beats. He has always referenced that beat because that beat is fucking fire. And AZ and Nas are doing a back and forth and telling a story with Dr. Dre on the hook. That's your single.
I saw on Twitter.
Story. It's not even that complicated. Nas and AZ, back and forth. Dr. Dre, story, good night.
Speaking of which, man, speaking of AZ, I saw on Twitter somebody said something along the lines of, and I think they were referring to what you said one time. They said they stopped listening to this podcast when we said that Jay-Z and the Commission would have been Beanie Siegel. And I'm like, it's revisionist history here. I mean, in 1995, because I'm thinking about the Firm, who was bigger, AZ or Jay-Z?
AZ.
And he was
AZ had a platinum single in 1995.
And in the Firm, he was Beanie Siegel. Let's be real.
Correct.
So.
Correct.
Let's be real here.
Like, he was a platinum artist, and he was Beanie Siegel.
Yeah.
Damn right.
I don't know.
He became a platinum artist before. Listen to this. He became a platinum artist before Nas did, and he was still Beans because Nas was looked at as the star, not AZ.
And I mean, that would have been the reality with Big at that point.
Duh.
I mean, it is what it is. The track record speaks for itself. I guess people don't want to. When people say stuff like that, you could tell they weren't there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's not a knock on Jay or anything. It's just the reality. Like,
it's reality.
It's just like somebody saying that three-peat Lakers team, that was Shaq's team. As great as Kobe ended up being, that was Shaq's team. Somebody who might not have been there might have been like, well, Kobe was there. No. That was Shaq's team.
No, I'm about to say, no, Kobe was happy that he got traded from Charlotte to the Lakers and got a chance to get his ish together and cultivate his career when Shaq was in his prime. You see, Kobe didn't have to be the best version of himself every night.
He didn't.
Because somebody was the best player in the league, and it wasn't him.
Michael Williams with the super chat says, just some perspective on Nas's greatness. He started writing Illmatic as a teenager. He's now almost 50 and still the best rapper in the game today. His longevity is unprecedented. It's going to be tough to be duplicated, definitely.
We didn't even plan on having this conversation. It's just like when cats is pulling up and saying some of the stuff they're saying, like, I'm telling you, it's like I told you before. Listen, I told you before these 3 albums dropped, he was the greatest MC of all time. When we do runs like this on these guest appearances in this unreleased stuff, this is why.
Yeah.
I was like, no, he don't need these albums. If y'all say he need these albums, that's fine. But this is what I was talking about. Like, he got all this. He been had all this.
It's about the evidence. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm a big album person, and we're going to get to that when we talk about this Eminem thing. And now, even the album part of it can't be refuted. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've always known that from a gifted standpoint and from a lyrical standpoint, he's in a league of his own. I've always said 96 Nas is probably the best rapper to ever grace this planet. But it was always about the albums and catalog of music for me in combination with those things too. And he has just leaped over everybody else when it comes to that part of it too.
You want to know what's crazy? I didn't understand it when he first said it because I was a kid. I didn't know what the hell he's talking about. I'm from the South. I'm not from New York. But Mike, representing is Illmatic. And that's really what he's been doing. He's been like living out what he said at the beginning of that intro on the Genesis to Illmatic. The shit him and AZ is talking about on there, if you think about his career, no, it's going down. Remember what he's saying? You doing this even without a record contract.
Yep.
Niggas been doing this since back then. And AZ's like, well, forever it go down, we gonna keep it real. We trying to see many mansions and many coops, kid. Like everything that they're talking about in the Genesis, like it actually happened.
Crazy, right?
And at the end, he literally goes representing this Illmatic. And it's like, well, if you look at what Illmatic means now, like hip hop to the culture, it is literally the hip hop album that represents hip hop. Representing is Illmatic. He said it.
And it was written.
Right. And it was written.
Esquire with the super chat says Desperado 2 is fire. Better than Canibus's version 2 to me. Yeah, Canibus really got down on there. You know,
I don't know if it's better than Canibus's verse.
Canibus had a way of kind of sucking the air out of the room. You know what I mean? When he got on the mic and did what he did, I think the only thing that, and me and my homeboys talking about this the other day, Canibus's bars were just perfect for mixtapes, freestyles, blowing your mind. But the translation for those level of bars onto record, it just didn't happen. Not saying it couldn't happen, but again, I think that is a producer's job again. Wu-Tang's able to make those type of things work. Rakim was able to make those type of things work.
Black Thought with the Roots.
Yeah. But see, you know what? I will say this, man, and this is one of the reasons why I've slept on Black Thought for all those years. I always knew he was nice, but I think that the Roots sound toned him down. They didn't bring out how vicious of an MC he was,
he had to learn how to freak
points. He adjusted more to them than they adjusted to him. And
absolutely.
Absolutely. So yeah, I don't know if that's the best
shit.
example, but it does show how great of an MC he is to be able to adjust to that and still get greater with age too, as just a bar for bar MC.
I think he's kind of like you and me in the sense that he's like a real like Rakim KRS-One fan in the sense that he loves lyrics on that level. And so I think that's what Thought aspired to be as an early MC. But I think what the Roots did was make him a songwriter early.
You're right. They did.
Early. Like you hear it on Do You Want More? Because lyrically, he's actually not there yet. But how about this on Do You Want More? You hear the pieces of his songwriting skills more than you hear his lyrical skills.
You're right.
It's just on Philadelphia, you're like, oh shit, he can rhyme his ass off.
007
the songs are better.
Yeah. 007 with the super chat says Big and Pac passed, so they didn't get the chance of longevity wise. Rakim didn't have the feature game and didn't last. Jay is not as organic and Road waves his whole career. And honestly, Nas, he's the one. I think that, Jay riding waves I think that it showed his versatility in the moment, but I think that artistically, sometimes his business mind may have gotten in the way of, showing people how brilliant, from a longevity standpoint, he was as an artist.
You want to know what I think it is? So you see how we ran down those singles that Nas had been on, and we only went through like 25 songs, but then we got to the stuff that he just gave people that went on albums, and it's like 100 songs. That's what Jay didn't do. Jay didn't give people album stuff, really. Like, Jay don't have, like, name me the eye for an eye type of verse that Jay gave somebody, or the fast life back and forth that Jay gave somebody, because he didn't do that often. Nas did it for Scarface, and then kept on doing it.
Yeah, he did it for Scarface, MOP maybe. He did that mostly in his camp. Yeah, in his camp mostly.
Scarface is the only person that I can think that he gave like some really fly shit to, like at his peak, and that was the Guess Who's Bizat.
Well, he was on the album before that too. He was on Last of a Dying Breed. But again,
no. I said him at his peak, though.
I got you. I think, you know what, Nas may have benefited in that way from not really having a camp. Because I think that the mentality with Rockefeller may have been, I don't know, but it may have been, you know what, if you're going to spit some fire, you got to spit some fire for the people that are on your label. And that makes sense too. But once again, that's the business mind. This is what I mean. You know?
I want you to think about this. Let's go to 95 right quick. Mm-hmm. Take that verse on Eye for an Eye and take that verse on Verbal Intercourse and put them together, and you have your own Nas song. But he gave those to Mobb Deep and Wu-Tang Clan.
Well, you know, again, that goes to that mentality I was talking about a couple of shows ago where somebody was like, oh, 50 gave Game his album. No. Creators don't think like that. You can give people whatever. I can make something new. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, Nas isn't holding on to a verse like, oh, this is my best verse. I can't give you another one.
You want to know what one of his most underrated verses is, Mike? It's the verse with G-Rap on Fast Life. Yo, I got guns from Italy, smoke trees considerably.
I love that.
Like that one where he's talking about the ghetto misery, shootout in liquor stores, a perpendicular angle of the clout war. That's him talking in 95.
Crazy.
Like, he gave niggas shit like that off GP, and that's what I mean is like, nah, you ain't gonna find no J verses like Eye for an Eye, Verbal Intercourse, Fast Life, More Money, More Murder, More Homicide, Body in the Trunk. No, not like that. You gonna find some dope stuff. You gonna find Carolina Blue Kicks, Hottest Nigga on the Block, or you gonna find, that's why, hold on, I'm in the back with the AC off. That's why the streets embrace me, dog. I'm so cool. Like, you gonna get that his best year. You're not gonna get microphone ass ripping. You're not getting that.
Was 01 Jay-Z's best feature year? You think?
How many did he do? Is that the year he did that? It's On with Beanie. Because that's his best, like, real street feature to me.
What year was that? Because that was on the State Property album, right? And then it ended up being on the Siegel album as well. So I think that might have been 02. 007 with the Super Chat says, does Jay-Z release another album, and what's your expectation? Does he try to be on some hip-hop-ish, or does he play it safe and stay commercial? I wonder. I don't think Jay-Z's dropping another album, number one. And number two, if he does, I think he's going to go the commercial route.
I don't even know what it means to truly be commercial anymore, actually.
I guess that's a fair point.
Because, like, isn't commercial now, like, guys like Tekashi and, like, Lil Nas X, isn't that, like...
No. Tekashi's been gone. I would say that, you know, the most mainstream people out there right now, as far as, like, radio goes in rap, I think Lil Baby still gets a lot of burn. You know, Megan... I was telling somebody today, man, I think, because they were talking about Cardi B and who she could team up with next and who can get her a hit and who's like the hit maker right now. I think the biggest radio hit maker in rap, pop, whatever, is Doja Cat.
Okay.
Everything she jumps on is a hit. But you're right, though. When you talk about commercial music.
Look, a lot of women in the forefront, Mike.
It is. When you talk about commercial music for a 50-plus-year-old rapper, though, you're right. I mean, what does that look like? I don't know.
See, yeah, we don't know what it looks like. And so what I would tell you is that him being Jay is kind of like enough. He's kind of Jay. That was the thing that I was always saying about like him riding waves. It's like, how about this? And I'm gonna play devil's advocate for Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to AZ. Do or Die is coming out a year before Reasonable Doubt, about 9 months before to be exact, maybe 10 months, 9 or 10 months before.
Right.
You do understand AZ's about 5 years younger than Jay, 5, 6 years younger than Jay. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to understand that Jay is literally watching Big, who's about 4 or 5 years younger than him, or 3 or 4 years younger, I think. And AZ was like 5 years younger. Well, they from Brooklyn, and that's 94, 95 platinum artists coming out of Brooklyn.
Yeah, AZ's in the Dead Presidents video, too.
AZ is in the Dead Presidents video with Big and with Jay playing Monopoly on some Brooklyn shit. I heard Nas got invited to that, too, in Decline, and that's part of what started the riff with him and A. Right. I've heard that. I don't know how valid that is, but I had a Brooklyn cat who I trust tell me that one time, be like, the real shit with Nas and A actually started when H went to the Dead Presidents video because he was already feeling some type of like Biggie tension, and then Jay came along and he was like, no, the AZ's from Brooklyn.
So he had to do it.
Right. But you got to understand, Jay's 26, 27 in that video. Nah, AZ like 21, 22, 23 in the video. And so when you got cats that's younger than you, that's from your borough, you feel me? So it's like that need to ride that wave kind of came from watching Biggie go platinum in 94, watching AZ go platinum in 95. That's just out of his borough. He's telling you on This Can't Be Life, I'm sitting on the block thinking, damn, I'm going to be a failure surrounded by thugs, drugs, and drug paraphernalia. He's talking about Big, Craig Mack's album. No, he's watching the shit happen right in front of him. That's where all of that ride the wave came from.
Yeah, I mean, but I think also, again, he's looking at it as a boss. Like, what would I tell an artist to do? I can go out there and duplicate that because I'm both of those things. And I think the fact that him being older, it mattered, but it didn't matter because he was coming from a boss type perspective too. You know what I'm saying? They were doing things on their own.
What I'm saying is that if you listen to him on the In My Lifetime the year before, around the time when all this other stuff's happening, no, he doesn't sound like that boss. He went and found his niche. See, you have to understand, like Biggie have kind of carved out a niche. Nas and AZ have kind of like carved out this niche. So when you're hearing Reasonable Doubt, that's why I'm telling you, no, Cats was talking, but nobody had talked like that before. Well, Streets is watching. He was the main one watching, so he knew how to talk.
I feel like he kind of developed that style when he started rhyming with Sauce Money more. Like him and Sauce Money developed that whole vibe. I love hearing Jay and Sauce Money together, man. Sauce is ill. He's one of the more underrated MCs that we never talk about.
Sauce is nasty.
Sauce is ill, man. He's been on records with heavyweights and did his thing. Jay Short with the super chat says, don't forget about Nas's classic remixes. Oh yeah, can't forget about that. Esquire says, boss of the bosses freestyle, one of his best verses too. La Familia verse is dope too. Mega went crazy on the original.
Hold on, stop for a second. I hear Great 8, and this only because it's Great 88. He talking about What We Do, Blackout, Reservoir Dogs. That ain't, first of all, Reservoir Dogs is Jay's song. And Blackout and What We Do ain't got shit on no eye for eye verbal intercourse. What's wrong with you, fam? That's what I'm saying when it's like he don't got nothing for that. He don't have nothing to that level. Keep coming, though.
That's why the super chat says,
you don't have that, Mike. Not on no guest appearance shit.
Esquire says, was a Black Preludes rolling over this Machiavelli 2 classic LPs. Still the feds tapping my celly. Oh yeah, the freestyle.
Yeah, Black Pirelli's rolling over this Machiavelli 2 classic LPs. Still the feds tap my. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Let's see where we at with the super chats. We got Marquez Davis says Coop was having this argument with somebody the other day, and gotta ask, be honest, at their primes, who's the better lyricist, AZ or Nas?
I used to have this argument when I was a teenager with my friend Charles Vakala, and he used to tell me, Charles is one of the cats that taught me how to flow too. Charles used to tell me that if you're actually talking about lyrical skill and capability, it's actually AZ because of not wordplay, but the types of words that he chooses to use. And he always went to AZ on Do or Die when he went into that verse. Before we let any titty boppers try to stop us, we rather put our head through the propellers of a helicopter. Nas doesn't do shit like that. And so, lyrically speaking, if we're talking about in terms of the word side of it, it is AZ.
Well, you know, it's interesting you say that because on Life's a Bitch, Nas is like, I woke up early on my born day. I'm 20. It's a blessing. The lessons are adolescent. Keep my body now refreshing. My physical frame is celebrated because I made. Like, he's taking some of those stanzas because of who he's rapping with.
Yes.
The lessons of adolescence keep my body now refreshing.
How about this? He knows AZ is going to be super wordy with like intricate words, and so he knows who he is and he's comfortable who he is. So you'll find him being more poetic with AZ. Like, you're not going to find him in like super lyricist Nas mode with AZ because he's like, well, you got a super lyricist right here, like, who's great with words. I can do my poetic thing. And so if you want to talk about the overall lyricist, it's still Nas, but just like on that word shit, I mean, AZ is Cool G Rap Big Pun level, which means like A1, like the highest of the high. So that's what I mean. There's certain types of lyrical wizardry. That's what I mean. It's like, no, when it comes to the word usage and flip it, no, like AZ is in Big Pun and Cool G Rap's categories and head of V class.
Man, shout out to AZ too, because Do or Die 2 last year was fire.
Top 5 rap album announcement.
You said you wanted to talk about the NFL shit.
Hold on. Do or Die 2 would be album of the year right now this year.
If it wasn't for Nas? Oh, you talking about this year? Okay.
Yeah. What's come out what's better than Do or Die 2 to you, in your opinion?
No Fear of Time. I'm sorry. I'm still on the No Fear of Time throws everything off of me, man.
We're gonna have to play that album on Patreon, Mike, because I don't.
Yeah, we're gonna have to play that album on Patreon.
Very problematic how they're behaving.
Yeah. We might. All right, we're not gonna do that this Monday because we're gonna do the
no,
Tribe and Cast. But the following, we got to do the No Fear of Time. You said you wanted to talk about the NFL, man, because the game last night was on Amazon Prime, which is odd. And I also want to talk about this Rotimi thing with the Atlanta Falcons. I think it's gotten out of hand, and Rotimi doing the theme song for the Falcons, and he has made a response to Atlanta Falcons fans as well. T.I. said a couple of things too.
Me too. Hold on. First of all, I see Leroy with the Murdergram verse. Touche. Murdergram is pretty epic. He's nice on Murdergram.
He is.
He got busy on Murdergram. I'm going to give him Murdergram. That's up there high. Okay. So I try to think like through the mind of my childhood and the things that I experienced and why and how I got to experience them. So one of the coolest things for a kid that grew up without a lot of money that's impoverished is that, well, on Sunday, the football games come on regular TV. But Monday Night Football used to come on regular TV too, Mike. And it was so crucial to kids who love football and want to play football that maybe don't have the economic resources that others do to watch it on cable at the time. Now, I understand we live in a different world. There's a lot of different ways to stream. So most people have access through some way or somehow to the NFL Network or ESPN to watch these games, including the young kids. But you can't tell me that the kids that grew up on the west side of Charlotte, where I'm from, or the east side of Atlanta, where I'm from, that grew up in the conditions that I grew up in, had access to some Amazon Prime Video last night, and I don't like it.
Well, you know what? The NFL doesn't care. And I think that the NFL has this mentality, and they've had it for a minute. They'll do whatever they want to do. You're going to watch anyway. You know what I'm saying?
They don't care if their players beat their wife's ass, if quarterbacks sit up there and get 55 massages and commit borderline rape. No, they don't care.
Well, I think that the Kaepernick situation showed us that. And regardless of how anybody feels about, Kaepernick kneeling or not kneeling, whatever. But their stance on that and how they handled that situation, based on how the public's reaction was, it lets you know that, they could care less. Not to mention, like a year before that, when like you said, the Ray Rice situation happened, and every single commercial you saw, something about domestic violence. Domestic violence. They made a clear stand on that. But when it came to this Kaepernick thing and what Kaepernick was standing for, they villainized him, and they knew that people were gonna watch anyway. The NFL dares you to boycott them. Like, what? You're not gonna watch football? Yeah, right. So we'll do whatever we want. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's Born King with Super Chat says.
See, here's the thing. Like people joke about the mafia and the mob and like how people move. People got to understand like when people are like really like moving like the mob and like throwing up gang signs and shit. Like those are gang signs, Mike. I take those like gang signs. It's like, yeah, fuck your impoverished community. Say something.
Are you talking about the NFL doing the Amazon?
Yeah, twisting their fingers up. We don't care about your community. You either pay this ticket or not. You better take this 30-day trial and not forget.
I mean, let's just be real. That's not their market. Now, that might be their market to get their future players, but that's not who they're selling their tickets. That is your market. No. That is Mike. That is your market. Trust me, I grew up on the east side of Atlanta and the west side of Charlotte. That is your market. That is where the players reside. I hear you. That's part of your market, but
specifically the east side of Atlanta.
As far as the money spending market, that's not their market. That's all. That's what I'm saying. The season ticket holders. You know what I mean? Like,
here's what I'm saying though. Okay, so here's what's going to happen though. So here's how thin these margins are. No, here's how thin these margins are. When you're saying it's like they don't care about that demographic, well, that kid might get access to the NBA games just on regular TV or ESPN this year. And he might put down a football and start picking up a basketball instead because he got more access to it. You play what you have access to. This is why baseball started failing, is because they started cutting off access to stuff because they thought, remember, Mike, baseball used to be the biggest thing. Even there was a time when you and I were kids, in our lifetime, Mike, baseball was the biggest sport in this nation. And you want to know what they did? They forgot about everybody else, and they just started taking care of them rich old white people, and they have themselves in third place, trending towards fourth place. We'd rather see UFC or a boxing match.
Yeah, they might be past third place. What I was going to say, though,
might be fourth place.
I don't think that the NFL takes – I don't think the NBA takes NFL's personnel. I mean, it's just not the same makeup. I think baseball and football kind of take each other's players. I think a lot of the baseball players end up playing football, but you have to be physically, if you're a football player, more times than not, you're not a basketball player, like physically. Maybe a wide receiver, that's it. Everything else. What other position player?
I'm looking at it through the eyes of a child or a young teenager, Mike. So at that stage, no, it's not like that yet. I'm not looking at it like you're 17. I'm looking at it like you're 11, 12, 13.
Well, not everybody's going to be 6'6".
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to be
Steph Curry is all, this is what I'm saying. No. Steph's changed all that, Mike. It's different now. Steph has changed all that. You can't kick that 6'6" basketball thing anymore. They're watching Steph win 4 rings, 2 MVPs, and he's about 190 pounds, 6'2 and a half, 6'3".
Well, yeah.
You can't kick that anymore. He changed things. So they do believe that. So a kid will, yeah.
I don't know.
It's a thin margin. All I'm saying is the NFL has been doing a lot of risky things lately. You know, they've been doing a lot to hurt themselves in little ways that I remember baseball did when we were younger. And it's like, oh, y'all one strike away from being out of first place. How about that?
So you think that? I'm going to get to that point in a second.
Baseball was in first place till the '94 strike, Mike.
Let me go to these super chats real quick, and I'm going to follow up on that. Born King said the stars were aligned for Jay. With the demise of Pac and Big, he saw Puff bring in the flashiness. He seized the moment with the bling, and it shifted the game. I think Puff was the first rap superstar that we knew wasn't really a rapper. C-Note with the super chat says, when it comes to gangster lyrics, who's more intricate with the bar work than Brother Lynch Young? Excuse me.
What define intricate when you say that? Because I immediately thought, well, Scarface is more intricate, but
I guess he means lyrical dexterity or whatnot.
Right, that's what I mean. You mean the lyrical miracle stuff? Because it's like if you want to talk about intricate, the stuff that Scarface writes is intricate.
Jay Short with the super chat says, I think AZ versus Nas would be closer than we think. Bar for bar, possibly. I don't know, man. I'm gonna give AZ his credit, but Nas is something else, man. But this is what I want to say though. As far as I want to ask you straight up, do you think there's ever going to be a moment where the NBA overtakes the NFL as far as popularity?
Yes.
I disagree with that. You know why? Because the NFL has this advantage over everybody. They have this week to week parity. It's not 82 games. They have everybody building up for one game a whole week, and they're able to develop. I mean, let's look at it from a marketing standpoint. It's like hype. It's like a movie's coming out. Like they're able to build on that one game for a whole week, where the NBA can't do that until it's playoff time, really. The NFL has the playoffs every fucking week. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get what you're saying. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. Oh, at some point, everything has tipping points, Mike. It's like when the baseball strike happened in 1994, and I was 12 going on 13 years old, and I felt like that was actually the best Braves team that we ever had, the team that happened during the strike season. That was actually our best team.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought that I would fall out of love with baseball the way that I did. I've never fallen back in love with the baseball. I love the Atlanta Braves. I don't love baseball anymore. You were one major mistake away from losing a young core fan base, and then that young core fan base grows up, and that's why the NFL is in first place, because all of us who used to follow baseball religiously, like we were talked to like it was the number one sport, well, they failed us right at the wrong time. And when you fail a certain community and demographic at the wrong time, well, Mike, our demographic is the demographic who, quite frankly, have been the players in the NFL for the last 20 years.
Well, you know what I will say.
Overcoming the coaches and the assistant coaches and the GMs and the parents to the kids, and baseball having that strike had a major effect on that. So they are literally one more, big, borderline rape case or somebody dying on the field or CTE away. Yes, they are.
I don't know, man.
They are,
somebody in the chat
said, in our lifetime, Mike.
Somebody in the chat.
Third behind. People understand. they jumped from third to first. The NBA stayed in second place.
Listen, man. Somebody in the chat says something that I totally agree with. Fantasy football alone will keep them on top. I mean, it will.
You keep saying that, Mike. Like people don't understand. The world will change right in front of you. Like when I ask you who the pop radio stars are, you understand that you named 3 women.
No, you're right.
Stop acting like things are the same. If you don't start recognizing the changes going on, like when you brought up the pop stars, it's like we had to bring up Lotto, Megan, and you picked the biggest one is Doja Cat. Now name a time in rap where you named 3 women as being 6 of the top pop stars that you named. Things change. People need to be careful. So when y'all talking all this stuff, it's like, no. I remember this today. Somebody reminded me. It's like, no. People hated Dr. King right before he died. People hated Muhammad Ali when he was in his prime. Stop acting like things don't change.
I mean, people always hated Dr. King.
Right.
Not just right before he died.
Well, no, what I'm saying is that the reference for him is different now.
Yeah. Mad Max in the super chat says, Monday Night Football in 2020 got more ratings than the NBA Finals with LeBron in 2020. It's not close. The NFL is king. That's an event, not a game. They do market it as an event. Jay Short says, NFL is number 1 popularity because of gambling, period.
That's, like I said, I remember I used to hear all this stuff about baseball when I was a kid and why baseball ran shit, and baseball was like, oh, we got it. And then they fucked up, and then it wasn't the same.
I do think you got to be adaptable.
The people now are less forgiving than the people were then.
One thing I will say, you do have to be adaptable, and I think in the internet age, the world's just faster, and basketball has been able to adapt to being a faster, more highlight-friendly game. I think that the internet as well, and baseball's inability to be adaptive. I mean, they wouldn't even put lights in Wrigley Field for decades. I think that's what made it fall behind as well. Well, the Falcons have definitely failed the fans by getting Rotimi to do the theme song. And we'll talk about that in a second.
They failed the city in a multitude of ways, Mike. This is just reason number like 5,500.
You know what? I want to say this. When they gave up that lead to the New England Patriots, do people really understand what the new arena was being built? The new arena, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, we would have walked into that stadium that following year putting up a banner. You know what kind of culture setting that is?
The type of thing that won't be happening to the Falcons. It was 28-3. It's 28-3.
Jay Short with the super chat says, Coop, Montreal Expos, was gonna wash y'all in '94. The Montreal Expos were
first
good.
of all,
they had Marquise Grissom that year. Right?
They had Marquise Grissom and Pedro Martinez, and we were still gonna whoop that ass. Fuck your team. All right.
Eric Terrell with the super chat says Nas said that it was in the studio. He was in the studio with Big and folded up. Why doesn't he lose points for that? But Wayne loses points because of Pusha T? Huh.
I mean, there was also the time that Nas and Big were supposed to go to the studio, but Big didn't want to go because he was too high, so they just ended up sitting in the apartment freestyling. All right, we don't hold that against Big. Get all your stories together. Next. That's what I'm saying. People be telling the story to fit the narrative. It's like, no, tell all the stories. Tell the story about how Big told everybody that the illest MC he ever heard was Nas, because one night him and Nas got faded in the apartment and was supposed to go to the studio, but the nigga Nas blacked out and kept on freestyling and rhyming and telling stories and songs and putting hooks together, and they never even made it to the studio. Big was amazed and shook up that night.
Well, Big did say that the 95 Source Awards, he said that Nas should win Lyricist of the Year. He's like, I think I should win Album of the Year for Ready to Die. So, he has acknowledged that.
Biggie said that?
Yeah. Big said that before the award show happened. He was like, because you know how they kind of get the pregame predictions or whatever? He was like, yo, man, Nas, man, he made Illmatic, man, he should get Lyricist of the Year. He got that, but I think Ready to Die should win Album of the Year.
Well, I think the rest of the people need to say less then.
Well, he said that. I mean, I've seen the footage. It's on YouTube.
No, I don't have the story backwards. Biggie and Nas had a whole freestyle session where Biggie said Nas was the illest nigga he ever heard. I remember that.
Mad Max with the super chat says baseball fell off because it went Latino instead of black. And NFL don't have that problem. Also, the NBA right now is whack. That's not entertaining seeing threes every play. You know what? I agree with everything that Mad Max just said. First of all, your first point, very potent. I think that, it's no disrespect to the Latino players, but I do think that there is from a marketing standpoint, if you're not speaking the English language, fluently, that can get in the way of a team or a league's ability to market the individual player. That's one thing, right?
I don't know if I like that, and I'll tell you why.
I mean, you cannot like it. It's just the truth. You know what I'm saying?
It's the truth.
I mean, I know Stephen A. got in trouble for saying that, but it's true. Like, if I went to Japan, I can't speak Japanese. It's going to hurt my marketability in that country. It is. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I just think about I think about all the interpreters and all the people overseas who traditionally learn 3, 4, 5 languages,
right.
And we just over here stuck on English, and we act like we can't conform to everything, but we ask everybody to conform to us.
Well, I think
those problematic things that gets unpacked during the course of this show. I want you to understand, like when you were overseas, when you were in Africa, my mother just got back from Africa.
Mm-hmm.
She's been in Africa for 2 weeks doing missionary work. There's nothing for them to speak in 3, 4, 5, 6 different dialects. When I'm in Europe, it is nothing for them to speak Spanish, Italian, French. Oh, my mother's Portuguese. I speak a little Portuguese too. It's like, isn't that French and Spanish? It's exactly what it is, but I know how to speak French and Spanish too. It's like, if you don't know 3 to 4 languages over in these places, you are not considered to be the sharpest knife in the drawer. Let me say it to you again. You are motherfucking stupid to these people if you can't speak a few languages. And so when we have all these constraints that involve English, which quite frankly doesn't even belong to us, it's just like, no, that ain't the reason. That's what I mean about like all these conformist standards and how things run and work. It's like, oh, English is they don't speak English and that's the problem. It's like, no, the motherfucker speaking English is the problem, not that they don't speak English.
Well, I hear what you're saying.
Can you hit the baseball and bat 300 and hit maybe 30 home runs and steal about 15 bases for me. That sounds like a fucking star. It is the job of the leagues and the players and the clubhouses, the management, the staff, the organization to make these players into stars. It's like, does baseball need an A&R, Mike? They need some A&Rs. They need some artists and repertoire too.
Well, how
That's
can
what
we?
the
No,
problem
no,
is.
no,
The
no,
problem is
no.
not the
I
talent.
think at the end of the day, though, how can we say somebody has star power when one of the biggest things about star power, especially for entertainers, because that's what athletes are, you have to be able to communicate to your audience as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one thing that, you know, somebody has a great rap record, but, you know, we talk about it all the time. People being media trained or lack thereof. Have you ever seen an interview with like a certain artist on the Breakfast Club or whatever, and people like them more after they heard them interview and speak to somebody? That's why we even do interviews, so that you can connect to your audience. Now, I think what you're talking about, I mean, that's something, you know, structural.
See, but in baseball it's different though, Mike, because baseball above all the sports is about the numbers. In those players, the Latino players, they put up better numbers than everybody, except with the exception of a canonized selection of black players. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, and so, like, no, because in baseball specifically, it's a numbers games. Like Fernando Tatis, Manny Machado, what's his name, who's been hurt all the time for the Yankees, Juan Carlos Stanton. No.
There's marketable.
Baseball is a numbers game. When we talk about Barry Bonds, Mike, we talk about all those walks. That's a number. We talk about all those home runs. That's a number. We talk about the fact that he might see one pitch a night. That's a number. It's a numbers game with baseball. Barry Bonds was a fucking asshole to everybody. Mike, he's the greatest baseball player ever. Everybody that saw him play baseball, it's like, it's the best baseball player I ever saw.
But from a marketability standpoint, we know even as great as Barry was, the person
pariah.
The person that was marketed in that era was Ken Griffey Jr. So are you telling me that any of them are as marketable as Ken Griffey Jr.? Are you telling me that as great as somebody like, let's just say Tony Kukoc, he could have the swag and the marketability of a Michael Jordan? I mean, you have to be native. I mean, you know, it's a connection that's there.
Mike's not a fair comparison.
Well,
to anybody.
Allen Iverson. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
okay, so what if I were to tell you that Luka might be having an Iverson type impact from where he's from in Europe? What if I told you that?
What if I told you that he'll never have that impact here?
Well, he can't
like
because he's not from here, and Iverson is.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean he can't be a star. Everybody can be a star.
I understand what you're saying. I agree with that. Everybody.
That's why I love tennis, Mike. I love me some Rafael Nadal. Rafael Nadal is from Mallorca, Spain. I love him. He's from Mallorca, Spain.
No, again, it's a lot that goes into selling the league, and I think these leagues are selling on individual players, and I think baseball did fall behind in that when a lot of black-born American players stopped playing baseball. It is what it is. I mean, we see the trend. They're sitting here asking for black players to play baseball again. You remember in the All-Star game, they were talking about black people need to watch baseball again. Did they not say that?
So, Mike, what I'm trying to tell you is that, well, you know, when that gap and that rift happened for those black players, think about it. When was Griffey that star? That was about what, Mike? When did them Ken Griffey's come out? I believe that was 1992, 1993 that the Griffey's came out.
The Griffey's came out. And y'all could Google this. I think the Griffey's came out, I want to say it was like 94, 95. Because I remember it was like around that time when Orlando went to the finals with Houston. Eric Terrell with the super chat says, do you make a song in the studio or in an apartment? Talk about the Biggie and Nas conversation. That's hilarious. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, Coop giving Malcolm X / Kevin Samuel vibes. I mean, in a good way.
But this is what I mean. Okay, so Mike, go ahead. I was going to say,
Jay Short, he said ESPN ruined baseball by marketing the same 5 teams. That could be real, too. The Yankees got a lot of burn. 007 says pre-supplement bonds was top 5, but better than the say, hey, kid, Coop. I don't know about the best of our generation. Okay, sure. Now, Barry Bonds, the greatest baseball player of all time. Look at how many stolen bases Ken Griffey Jr. has in relation to Barry Bonds. Look at how many times Barry Bonds was walked in relation to Ken Griffey Jr. It's not even close.
So when I say Barry Bonds is the best baseball player ever, I think the person that he did replace is his godfather, which is to say, hey, Kid Willie Mays. That is the person that he supplanted as the best baseball player ever overall. Just so we're being clear. So if I were making a list, it would literally go Barry Bonds, then Willie Mays.
Definitely.
Like in that order directly.
Definitely.
Like specifically. So when you're saying replace him, it's like, well, he's number 2 on my list. Like personally.
I'm pretty sure Willie Mays would even say that.
Right. But he would. But here's what I'll say, Mike, around the same time that those Griffies are getting released, that's when we're in love with baseball. That's what I'm saying. That strike killed all that for our generation. And if you look, we're about 10, 11, 12, 13 years old when that happens. 10 years later, they're talking about the lack of blacks in baseball. That's right when it happened. That's what I'm speaking to. And so when you're saying that this can't happen to the NFL, it's like, no, we watched it happen in our lifetime with baseball where something happened. And those kids that used to play baseball in the inner city, like me and a bunch of others, stopped when that strike happened, ended up picking up a basketball and a football. It hasn't been the same since. Don't tell me that it can't happen to the NFL because it's some fucking fantasy football, especially when you're playing a violent sport where people can potentially have lifelong injuries. Like I said, it's only going to take one of these people, one of these players, doing something crazy during career. Mike, you remember Chris Benoit, the wrestler?
Mm-hmm.
Who just one day went berserk and killed his whole family? Oh, you can... Wrestling's... NFL not going to survive that like you think, Mike.
You don't think that the
NFL
NFL
that's
has...
wrestling. Like, those guys are considered to be kind of borderline fugitive rock stars anyway. No. It's not going to work.
You don't think that the NFL has wiggled out of all this CTE stuff?
Mike, that's what I'm saying. How long? Everything that's in the dark gonna come to light, Mike. That's what I keep trying to say. They've been on some very, very thin ice with a lot of things, like from the female perspective, from the what this is doing to the people when they retire perspective, in terms of people committing suicide or having violent tendencies or being abusive post football, just the dilapidation of the players. And the physical attributes. Like, we have people who play professional football that's like, I won't let my child play professional football. No, stuff like that gonna come home and roost. It's only gonna take one situation that causes a tipping point. Much like we didn't see all the inadequacies with baseball, Mike. We didn't see all the inadequacies with baseball until the strike happened. I'm telling you, you're one tipping point away from it all being different. That's what tipping points are.
The difference here is people know the dangers of football. They play it anyway. They know they can get brain damage. They've seen all the injuries. They see people get injured every week. You know what I mean? Like, there's no mystery in the dangers of football. People play anyway.
Well, Mike, also, can I tell you something, too? I think this crop of players that we've seen in the last 5 years have been the least talented crop that we've seen, too. And that's what I mean.
Well, like, I do want to get to that other...
Like, when I look at defensive players of the last 5 years that have been drafted, Micah Parsons from the Dallas Cowboys is the only person who flashes to me. It's like, that's a fucking football player, like of the real heinous and like violent, like NFL type variety. A lot of these dudes soft as fuck, Mike. A lot of that is the game.
Ho. And I want to get to the other point that Mad Max made. The NBA, it's not hardcore anymore either. The NBA's not really. And honestly,
it's not, but it's more exciting.
Is it? Because really, the NBA right now with no defense and people just running up and down the court shooting threes, it's a little less exciting than it's been over the past 20 years.
You want to know how that happened, though? Michael Jordan left and people were playing defense, so ratings dropped. And so they started slowly but surely instituting things that changed all that.
I mean, you know what? This last NBA Finals was not great to watch. I mean, Boston wet the bed. It was really... poor shooting, not great coaching. Like, the guys don't... First of all, there's no defense in the NBA, right? And then, like Mad Max said, you got guys coming down half court just jacking up threes. Like, it's cool when it goes, but it's not the most fun basketball to watch. Honestly, right now, if you want to talk about product on the field or court, the NFL has the NBA beat as far as product goes.
I don't agree, because if I were to go to the last 10 NBA Finals, I would show you 10 better NBA Finals than 10 Super Bowls.
Well, things change quick. The last 10 years isn't the last 4 or 5 years in the NBA.
Let's go to the last 4 or 5 years. Because like Tampa Bay like whooped the shit out of Kansas City. That wasn't exciting. This Cincinnati LA Rams Super Bowl, that wasn't exciting. That's the last two.
That was a good game. What you mean?
It was a good game, but it wasn't exciting, Mike. It had some moments, but that shit wasn't exciting. The last exciting Super Bowl was the Philadelphia New England Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I'm saying that Super Bowl.
When was that? When was the Philly New England Super Bowl? That was the last Super Bowl. I was like, oh, this shit is popping out here. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, that Super Bowl was exciting. When's the last time a Super Bowl was like that?
What was the last?
Because Steph and KD and LeBron been giving us that pretty steady like the last 7-8 years.
Let's be real. The last exciting NBA Finals was when LeBron went crazy and made KD.
You were such a
no. Let's be real. That is the last NBA Finals that was exciting when LeBron turned it on and beat the 73-9 team.
Was exciting,
it is. What's that?
That Phoenix Milwaukee series wasn't exciting.
No, come on, man. Don't nobody want to see Phoenix and Milwaukee. Come on, man. I don't even remember how many games.
I'll take the last two finals over the last two Super Bowls.
Come on, please.
I'll take the last two finals over the last two Super Bowls. Do you remember the Rams New England Super Bowl? What was that, like 10-3 or some shit?
Let me get to... No, that one was boring. I'll give you that one. That one was here.
It's all been boring, Mike, except for that Philly New England one. Been boring.
The last NBA Finals that was exciting was the one where Cleveland beat Golden State. And that's just real. Because after that, KD teamed up with Golden State, and they were just running through people. Nobody wants to see that. Mad Max of the Super Chat says, LOL, Coop, you can market Muhammad Ali. You can market Canelo like Floyd, and the NBA still has to market LeBron as a face because Giannis and Luka don't relate. That's right. There's a reason why Giannis and Luka aren't stars to that degree, and it ain't because of their abilities. It is what it is. CJ Kidd says, who wins a Mike versus Coop battle with the songs you guys made? I don't know. We might do that one day. Andrell Green says, people went crazy over Cole's feature run. Imagine if social media was around in 95 when Nas did Verbal Intercourse, Fast Lane, Eye for an Eye, More Money, More Murder, More Homicide, 101 off the Street Fighter. Yeah. There's levels to this.
Don't forget the hook to Give Me Yours. Don't forget the hook to Give Me Yours. I told you that singing hook. I just realized I was like, he's singing that hook. I'm like, that's 95. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what other rappers singing these hooks like this in 95?
Gotta give it to him.
Go shit.
CJ Kidd with the Super Chat says, was wondering if you guys would ever make a ranking scale for what an album needs to be a classic, like you rank the MCs. I think that's a good idea, actually.
I think we're kind of trying to get into that with some of the ratings that we're getting with some of the albums, because I think we're trying to find a way to properly rate it. Now, here's what I'll tell you, Mike.
I think that there does need to be attributes to that because, you know, I came across that post where the Source magazine gave Project Pat's Getty Green 2.5 mics. It's like, okay, well, if you're going to do that, how do you actually justify that? Because the Source used to do it in a way where it's like, I like it, I don't like it. But I do like the idea of having certain criteria for albums.
What would you have that criteria be?
I don't know, man. I think the versatility might be one of them. Creativity, lyrical ability. I mean, you know, production, lyrical ability.
I don't think we can do that. And I'm going to tell you why I don't think we can do that as easily as we said. Pray for Paris, Magic, and Alfredo are the three best albums of this decade, correct?
Correct.
They're all classic for succinctly different reasons, in my opinion. Now, you're going to have to show me what attributes all three of those albums share that's going to make me kind of coincide with that more, because we have to keep it current. Like Guru says, to start off Moment of Truth, we have to update our formulas. So we can't necessarily be going off of Illmatic and Paid in Full and Aquemini to make the basis of it. We need to be looking at the classics that have been made recently. Now, what do Magic, Alfredo, and Pray for Paris have in common?
Production, number one.
Okay.
Great
rhyming.
No,
I'm with you. I'm about to take notes.
Rhyming. So bars, right?
Okay, so some are going to quibble with you about West Side Gun and the bars because I knew you were going there. So what's going to be your rebuttal to that? And I agree with you. because I'm probably going to have the same devil's advocate response. But go ahead.
George Bondo is my response.
Right, Mike. I was thinking George Bondo and 500-pound ounces was my response.
Yeah, there's some bars on that album. Yeah,
there
and it might not be the bars.
Mike, he's got some bars on there, Mike.
Yeah.
Eurostep.
Yeah,
he's got bars on there. I don't care what anybody says. He's got bars on Pray for Paris.
I mean, Tyler on there. You know what I'm saying? Wale on there. Joey's
Rock.
giving it to him on there. Right? Yeah, he got bars on there.
You do have bars.
Deontay Smith of the Super Chat says, I think that the fact that we are seeing more black quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and Mahomes, is making the sport more popular in our community. CJ Kidd with the Super Chat says, gonna record my first song tomorrow. Wish me luck. You got this. Good luck. Send it over to info@accordingtohiphop.com. We want to check
Think like a champion and be a champion.
Yeah, 36 with the Super Chat says, as long as white conservatives are the dominant and NFL influence, I don't see it slipping from the number one spot. Add in the biggest marketing budget too. Right. Yeah.
Stop what you just said. Listen to what you just talked about, though. You just talked about the influx of blacks.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm afraid of. And listen to what I'm about to say, because you remember how you were bringing up Luka and Giannis and all them?
Yeah.
Oh, no. You think all these white people with all these disposable dollars, you think they like this Deshaun Watson thing? You think they like Lamar Jackson winning unanimous MVP? You think they like a little mixed curly hair quarterback being the face of the NFL when Tom Brady or Peyton Manning retire? Because if you think that shit here in America, you haven't been paying attention.
They got Josh Allen.
Like I'm saying, listen, let me finish. They're one tipping point away from putting their dollars behind black faces that they can see every week and trust. All right, NBA, one tipping point mistake away, Mike. If you think that they want this league to be replaced from Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning with Lamar Jackson. No,
well, this is the difference, Coop.
Where do you live? What world do you live in?
This is the difference.
What world do you live in?
Well, listen to me.
Well, show me the world you live in.
Cool. I'm about to respond to you.
You think they want Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson to run this league for the next 10 years? Where the fuck have y'all been?
Cool. This isn't basketball.
No, this is America.
Listen to what I'm going to say, though. The NFL is a controlled environment. They draw up the plays. The plays come from up high. Who do you think is coming up with this stuff? Lamar Jackson and Mahomes aren't able to go out there and do whatever they want to do out here? Come on. They can't do that in basketball. You get niggas the ball, they just going to go. Ain't nobody able to go to the press box and draw up anything for LeBron.
Hey, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying, Mike. If you think, listen to what I'm about to say. They would rather deal with LeBron and Steph Curry than deal with a Lamar Jackson or Deshaun Watson. I don't think you're paying attention to what I'm saying. All due respect. Are you getting what I'm saying when I'm saying that? Because I'm trying to nuance that a little bit nicer for you. Like,
well,
do you
LeBron's
see how
on his
Deshaun
way.
Watson? No. Have you heard Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson speak, or how they're kind of like verbal, non-verbal comes off?
So you think they would rather deal with the more intellectual one than
intellectual, clean cut, more passable, like they always have traditionally? What do you mean? That's what I'm saying. It's like, no, if that's gonna be my face, give me that face.
Well, we'll see who wins the Super Bowls, because that's what you're naming. You're naming guys who won the NBA Finals. So we'll see who wins the Super Bowls. Because winning in football is a team effort. You could be a great quarterback, and
I'm picking Lamar Jackson to win MVP and go to the Super Bowl. They done tried him, and he's about to show out. So I'm picking Baltimore to go to the Super Bowl.
Okay. Jay Short says, Mike, you sounded like David Stern. The NBA ain't the WWE. It's not? Okay. Eric Terrell with the Super
Chat. Are you sure about
that? Eric Terrell says, players putting together their own Big Three teams ruin the NBA. All the All-Stars and 4 or 5 teams. Yeah, I mean.
Okay.
From an entertainment standpoint.
About the people that's in control, but you can keep the. Okay.
Well, see, this is the thing, and this is what I mean when it comes from when I'm saying that the plays come from up high. Basketball is one of those things where the players actually run that league. The players will never run the NFL, and that level of control is where the higher ups like it. They can't control the NBA. These guys can go do whatever they want. Go play with whoever they want to. Born King with the super chat says, "Stop it, dude. The Rams and Bengals were great. Yeah, I enjoyed the Super Bowl too. I don't know what Coop's talking about.
It was just solid, Mike. It was a good game.
Jay Short says, NFL.
It's like, thanks for giving me a good football game to end my season. That's great. The game was good. Cool.
Jay Short with the super chat says, NFL is sweeping Lamar and Mahomes aside to make Josh Allen, Herbert, and Jay Burrow the faces of the league. They don't want another Kaepernick situation. Yeah.
Yes, they are. Well, they don't know. Joe Burrow's more Kaepernick than Lamar.
Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl, what was it, first full year? Jesus.
No, I mean, no. Joe, have you heard some of Joe Burrow's views? That's what I'm saying. Joe Burrow's more Kaepernick than Lamar and Deshaun are. And they are pushing them to the side. It's like Josh Allen has usurped Lamar Jackson in people's minds when they're like, well, he's a quarterback that can run and he can throw. It's like, yeah, I got a guy that did that won unanimous MVP that's younger than him. He's just black.
KD with the super chat says, not only do you need to define criteria to determine a classic, you got to define weights to each variable too. How much does the impact matter versus lyricism? Yeah, right. I think that's all real. Andrew Green says, yo, Coop, Nas said on Nas slide on Nostradamus, or Nas said on Nostradamus, first in to sing a hook on some TJ Swan-ish. He started the
first
wave.
Nigga to sing a hook on some TJ Swan shit. Yeah. He did say that on Nostradamus.
He did.
That bar doesn't sound like trash now.
Ryan Gillum says,
beat is so happy though. Next,
if KD3 turns out to be better than KD 1, 2, and Magic, would y'all agree that the album this year's best year for the best album so far? Yeah, I mean, yeah, if it's better than KD 1, 2, and Magic, yeah, it's gonna be album of the year.
If it's better than KD 1, it's gonna be album of the year right now. We're gonna have to play No Fear of Time.
We gotta play No Fear of Time. It's in the way. Mad Max with the super chat says, Lamar, Patty, Watson, Herbert, Allen, Burrow, NFL is lit. I agree.
No, they're lit. But listen to what I'm saying. Like, of those quarterbacks, you want you to understand, it's like if I were putting those quarterbacks in order from the last time I seen them play, it would literally go Mahomes, Watson, Lamar. That's one mixed guy and two black guys, but they keep on making Josh Allen and Justin Herbert the thing. Now, Herbert...
Josh Allen, the truth, man. I can't even front, man.
No, all these guys are frightening, but all I'm saying is that other than Patrick Mahomes, who walking around with MVP other than Lamar? So how these guys getting put ahead of Lamar again? I want somebody to explain to me why they're ahead of Lamar. They ain't walking around with no unanimous MVP. They're not.
Lamar got to win.
Lamar has won. Lamar's team was in first place last year until he got hurt. Lamar's taking his team to the playoffs every year he's been healthy.
I hear what you're saying.
Lamar's won a playoff game. Lamar has a unanimous MVP.
He got to finish the job.
I need these white boys to win. How about that? How about I need the white boys to win?
He got to finish the job.
These boys haven't finished the job. Mahomes is the only one that finished the job. At least he has an MVP.
How long has Josh Allen been in the league?
Mike, do you know how hard it is? Mike, you've been watching football a long time. You know how hard it is to win MVP in the NFL. Yeah. That might be the hardest MVP award to win.
It is. Deontay Smith with the super chat says, I know you guys are pushing a lot of content, but I would love for you two to do a sports discussion show. Yeah.
We've already got the sports discussion show planned. We asked y'all to help us with the name, and y'all have done nothing.
People said according to sports.
We asked for your help.
According to sports. Speaking of which, before we get off this sports topic, what did he say? How did he say his name? Rotimi? That's it, Rotimi. He was doing the Atlanta Falcons theme song. Rotimi is Dre from Power, for the people who don't know. And he did like the theme song for the Atlanta Falcons. He's from New Jersey. Was he Nigerian, I think, originally? And people had problems. People in the A was like, yo, man, where the Atlanta rappers at, man? Where the people who represent Georgia? Where the people who be out here at these games? Why do y'all have Rotimi out here doing this? And, Big Tigger was in the video, by the way. And so it was no surprise to me that Rotimi's response to the fans came on Big Tigger's morning show, and Big Tigger sat here and act like he was the rest of us in shock, like, nigga, you were in the shit. I think Big Tigger's behind this, actually, but that's a whole nother story. Anyway, Rotimi said that the Atlanta Falcons saw some of his content and they called him to do it. And he said he's been living in Atlanta. It's like his second home or whatever. When he wasn't shooting for power and wanted to get away from the city, he would come down here to Atlanta. His daughter lives down here, something like that. And he said, yeah, for sure, I'll do it. And he did it. And he doesn't understand what the big problem is because he said Atlanta's like a second home to him.
Nobody asked him all that.
Well, this is the thing, man. And T.I. has said some things, too. He said that the Falcons need to holler at him because, what they did was, it's going to divide the fans. He used a whole lot of $5 words in describing all of this. But ultimately, I think that the people that should have been called for it, in my opinion, I'm saying Quavo and Takeoff. Unc and Few on a roll. A real roll. And I'm looking forward to their Cuban Links album, too. But
Infinity Links, you mean?
Well, yeah, you know what I mean. Infinity Links. I should say Infinity because it's stronger than Cuban, right? I'm looking forward to it. What's that, October 7th? I'm looking forward to it. But yes, with all that being said, though, my only thing is, Rotimi, don't act crazy. You could have reached out to artists and, you know what, if the Falcon, let's just say this. Let's just say I live in LA as my second home. And the Lakers called me and was like, yo, we want you to do the theme song for the Lakers. For whatever reason they called me, right? And I didn't approach them on it. They just called me for whatever reason. I'm going to be like, you know what? Either I'm going to decline it or I'm going to use this as an opportunity where it's like, you know what? Let me get together different generations of LA to help me with this. Let me holler at somebody. Because again, with Tigger being in the shot, somebody knew about what was going on. This wasn't no secret mission.
Where's Tigger from?
Tigger from DC, ain't he, y'all?
He's from Jersey, I thought.
Is he from Jersey? Okay. I know
he was a DJ in Jersey, right? Wasn't he a radio host in Jersey first? I think he went to
school in DC, but somewhere up there, yeah.
Where's Rotimi from originally?
Jersey. He's from Jersey. Okay,
I'm pretty certain. Matter of fact, I know that Tigger was a DJ in Jersey because he used to spin Redman's records. So, fascinating.
Would New York let us do that? They shouldn't.
Without getting shot, Mike, without getting shot?
Would New York let me go out there?
When Game pulled up the Hot 97? Okay.
Would New York let me go out there and do that with the Mets or the Jets or the Giants or the Yankees?
Mike, we're not going to be able to walk through Queens or the Bronx.
And didn't holler at nobody? I think that's the problem, man. Like, and then they trying to act like people in Atlanta are overreacting. Like, no. You could have hollered at somebody.
If this was the Mets, Mike, if this was the Mets, we would not be walking through Queens. If this was the we would not be walking through the Bronx.
Get a cosign, man. And your cosign can't be Tigger because he ain't from here either.
Right.
And I say that respectfully, Tigger. You know you're not from here.
He's not from here. I don't care how long you live down here.
You ain't even have Ryan Cameron in the shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you had somebody like that was co-signing his shit, whatever. Ryan Cameron's an Atlanta legend.
If Jermaine Dupri approved this message, we would all be quiet.
Nobody approved this message.
Nobody approved
this message.
Okay.
And Tigger approving this message doesn't hold weight in this city. Born King with a super chat says, we're still waiting on Jay's... Born King said, we're still waiting on Jay's chess move for the NFL. Keep waiting, guys. Keep waiting.
You hold your breath. Suffocate.
Keep holding your breath. Mad Max with the super chat says, Josh Allen's better than Lamar. Tell Lamar to win a playoff game. Okay.
Lamar has won a playoff game, dummy.
No, he said playoff games with an S. Excuse me. CJ Kidd with
How many
super
playoff
chat.
games has Josh Allen won?
CJ Kidd says, found a tribe versus cast list. Want to go through it? No, we about to go through our own. We're going to do that on Monday.
We're doing that on Monday, actually.
Eric Terrell says, football is a religion and basketball is a sport. CJ Kidd says, Miss Jackson versus award tour. You don't want that. So fresh, so clean versus
an annihilation. Did he just put the don't do that? Don't do that to Miss Jackson. Miss Jackson's not even gonna make my top 30.
Rosa Parks versus Vibrant Thing. He also has Bonds Over Bad Dad versus Space Program. I'll give you Space Program.
So fresh, so clean versus Find a Way.
Yeah, I said that one.
Oh, you did?
That's a good one.
That actually is a good one. I love Find My Way. Find a Way
I
is their
love both
last
of
great
those
song
records.
to me before this last album. Yeah, I love Find
I
My
feel
Way.
the same way about So Fresh So Clean. I think it's the last great Outkast single.
Yeah, no, you're right. Those are both the last great singles they both released as like actual groups, while everybody was like, here with us.
Yep. Eric Terrell with the super chat says, "Coop on your Outkast versus a Tribe Called Quest playlist, Cast 1. We're gonna actually play the music this time. It's gonna be a little different."
Yeah, it's gonna be different. We're gonna play the music, and
y'all can click the Patreon at the top of the chat too.
Also too, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I think the songs that got picked, could have been better on both sides.
Oh yeah, no, it's about to be real this time. But
yeah,
man,
that's what I'm saying.
Man. I mean, I know Rotimi's trying to make light of this and all that, but you should have hollered at some Atlanta artists. You know what I mean? Like past, present, whatever. I think for me, this might have been a situation where the Atlanta Falcons were either trying to stir up some buzz or they were just being cheap. And a lot of the Atlanta artists, they might just be charging too much. I don't know. Maybe that's what it was.
All the above.
KC1 with the super chat says, "Is there a better rhyme performance than It Was Written? The extra verses on Street Stream is crazy. I never heard an MC flow so easy on an album. Not to mention, are you talking about the Street Dreams remix too? Or are we talking about the regular one? Too many bars, man."
So I think we had this conversation, Mike, where I was telling you I went and counted the verses on all the all-time great lyrical albums, and that I noticed that It Was Written if you told me it was the best lyrical album ever, I couldn't argue with you, because there is not another album that has more great lyrical evidence than that album from one MC.
I think that the downfall for me, It Was Written, and I've always never really considered it a classic, which, I've been debunked by that, is the fact that I think the songs just didn't come together as great as the verses did. But you know what? Based on how people view things now, that shit doesn't matter. I mean, based on what Eminem just said, who cares, right? It's all about
no, it's not even that.
Shit.
See, here's the thing about it. When you've always said that, I guess my biggest argument with you has been is it like, no, it's not that the songs and the hooks don't come together and that it doesn't come together. It just doesn't feel as timeless as Illmatic does song-wise. Like, those songs are timeless. They feel timeless. And so when you're listening to something that's timeless, it's hard to compare it to something that's just classic. And It Was Written has a lot of classic stuff, but not a ton of timeless stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I think the thing with It Was Written is the fact that he stepped it up as an individual MC and an individual lyricist, but he just didn't have I'm not even going to say beat makers, the actual producers that he had on the first album. Like, the producers that he had, one guy was coming off of Midnight Marauders. Another guy was coming off of Mecca and the Soul Brother and Making Main Ingredient. Another one was coming off of Hard to Earn, and another one was coming off of Breaking Atoms. These guys know how to make songs.
No, right. So here's what I submit to you. So it's like, you remember when the grading scale for school, it's like, what was it, like 92 to 100 is an A?
Right.
Something like that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, well, what you just witnessed is like, well, you just watched the kid walk into your class for the first time. And as soon as he walked into your class and took the first test, well, he got 100 on the test.
Yeah.
And so when that kid gets 100 on the test, when he comes back and gets like a 93 or a 94, it's still an A. It's just not that 100.
Yeah, you're right.
It doesn't mean it's not an A.
That's
because
exactly
you and I did a It Was Written rundown, and I'm like, well, Mike, where is the subpar song? Like, when Black Girl Lost is your subpar song, Mike, your album's a classic.
Yeah, I had unrealistic expectations, to be honest.
Right. You had unrealistic expectations because he got 100 on the test the first time. And so you're like, what the hell is this 94? I'm like, that's an A. That is. That's an A.
The other part of it is, Coop, it came in a year where everybody stepped it up from their previous.
See now, let's,
you know what I'm
let's
saying?
talk
Like,
about that.
even
Let's
though I
talk
think
about
Southern Playalistic is a better album, Outkast are better on ATLians, and it's debatable at the time, right? And I also think that obviously Pac stepped it up, right?
Right. So I'm about to say.
And then the Fugees had the biggest leap ever.
I was about to say, well, let's talk about what really, really happened. Is that everybody else that made classic rap albums that year, Mike, listen to what I'm about to say. 1996 is the year that most rappers or groups that release albums that year, they made the album that they are remembered for that year. So everybody else got their 100 that year. And so it looks like he took a step back. But when you actually look at it, Mike, it's still arguably the best album that year. It's like, I've told you, it's like, no, I put Reasonable Doubt and it was written right next to each other yesterday and today. And I know this because, Mike, when I was 15 years old, I used to listen to those albums back to back all the time.
It's not better than All Eyes on Me.
Nothing's better than All Eyes on Me, Book One. That's what I'm saying, Mike. No, here's what I'm trying to tell you is that if we're talking about Book One of All Eyes on Me, and it was called Book, it said Book One. If we're talking about Book One of All Eyes on Me, oh no, that's the album of the year. But if we're talking about both books, I'll put It Was Written in Reasonable Doubt right ahead of both of them.
I'll put Reasonable Doubt ahead of It Was Written. Yo, shout out to
that's not if you want to. But what I'm saying is, if you went top three, it would probably go Reasonable Doubt, It Was Written, All Eyes on Me, The Score, AT Aliens, depending on how you feel. And Mike,
think
you
It Was
have
Written
Money
better?
Wars and Illadelph Half-Life, Mike. So you got right there. You got 6, 7. Just
you think It Was Written is
like
better?
that.
Oh, you think It Was Written is better than AT Aliens and The Score?
What about AT Aliens and The Score is better than It Was Written, Mike?
Really?
Show me. Where's the evidence? Yeah, really.
Elevators,
Where's the evidence?
Two Dope Boys. I don't know, man. I want to put that poll up there. You don't want to
do that, Mike.
Shout out to 007. He said he went to high school with bro. He said that's Rotimi, pronounced Rotimi. So okay,
Rotimi.
Yeah, Rotimi.
Okay, so Mike, here's like what? No, Mike. Watch how quick this happens. You just said Two Dope Boys. The Message. Well, you just lost. You see how quick that happened? You want to go to AT Aliens versus Street Dream?
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, The Message is better than Two Dope Boys, Mike.
I want to see what the people in the chat
Two Dope Boys
gotta
for
say.
me is one of my top 10, like maybe Outkast songs, but it's not better than.
I like Two Dope Boys better than I like The Message. That's just me.
See, that's personal, Mike. That's not how hip hop history is going to remember these records. The Message.
I don't know,
Mike,
man.
You have to understand something, Mike. For people, and not even me, The Message is a top 5 Nas song. You cannot hand them no Two Dope Boys and think it's a valid argument because it's not.
You think The Message is a top 5
That's the
Nas
AT
song
alien
for
in
people?
you.
I don't know.
I don't think it's a top 5 Nas song. I'm telling you, there are a lot of Nas people walking around that think that is a top 5 Nas song. So when you bring in Two Dope Boys versus The Message, no, Mike, that is not a conversation.
We'll put the poll up. C-Note with the super chat says...
No. I'm talking right now, Mike. Two Dope Boys or The Message. The Message. Street Dreams or AT Aliens. Wash.
That's AT Aliens. AT Aliens.
Okay, you give it to AT Aliens. Mike, this is what I'm saying. No, Mike, keep going. Mike, Wheels of Steel or I Gave You Power. Tracks. Mike, why are we having this conversation?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think Wheels of Steel could be a better song.
Then I Gave You Power?
I Gave You Power lyrically is what it is, but I don't know. I'll give it to I Gave You Power.
Right. Watch them niggas at Jazzy Bell.
Jazzy Bell.
Elevators or Take It in Blood.
Elevators.
Silent Murder or Over the Woods. You're wrong, by the way.
No, Elevators is better than Take It in Blood.
Okay, Silent Murder or Over the Woods.
Silent Murder's there, or is it not at the end?
I mean, Mike, if we put it at the end, it's not going to make it. We're going to go off the 96 version that got released. Silent Murder's track 7 after Take It in Blood.
Let me go to these super chats.
See what I'm saying? You're trying to win the argument.
No. We go to the super chats because I know we could go on and on here. Right. C-Note with the super chat says, who wins in the fight, Spence or Crawford?
I'm going to tell you what. I ain't been excited for a fight in a long, long time like this one.
CJ Kidd says, Elevator versus Get a Hold. That's Elevators. KD says, did I miss the M topic? I want to know. I know Mike has smoke. No, you didn't miss the M topic. We're about to get into that now. Nick Miller with the super chat says, all the ATL artists Rico'd. That's how he got in. Okay. Maybe that's it. Maybe the Falcons are scared to be looped into that. CJ Kidd with the super chat says Players Ball versus Hot-ish. Yeah, that's Players Ball. Public Enemy, Terminator X. What up, Terminator X? Said Black Girl Lost was fire.
No, I didn't say it wasn't fire. I'm saying when Black Girl Lost is the weakest song on your album. That album's a classic. That's why I keep
Is
trying to
Black
tell you.
Girl Lost the weakest song?
I want you to think about this, Mike. What's the weakest song on ATLiens?
I think the Decatur song, and that's a dope song.
Right, but that ain't got shit on Black Girl Lost on no sort of level. At the top and at the bottom, Mike, it was written. You got all that in between stuff, but like at the top and at the bottom, and that's usually where like shit gets made.
You know what? Like I said, we'll put the poll out there. I'll actually break it down. I know we got a whole bunch of these super chats, and we got this.
Like we have a Patreon show, and ATLiens, and it was written at 13 records apiece, so we can
do
just
it.
go live.
I'm with it. I am with it. I am with that.
You do not want to do that. You do not, Mike. You want to put people versus ATLiens?
I want to do that.
Mike, there's a difference between a second place. There's a difference between a silver medal and honorable mention, Mike. I'm just.
Eric Terrell with the super chat says, y'all talking about Nas like he Randy Watson, lead singer of Sexual Chocolate. Damn, let the boy good. Yeah, Nas is pretty great. Alka Beelan says, how in the fuck is Black Girl Lost a subpar song? You guys are nuts.
Okay, so what's the weakest song on It Was Written? Watch Them Niggas then?
I think it might be.
Watch Them Niggas a Black Girl Lost, right? It's not like it's shootouts or the setup. Hold on. Nas is Coming. Watch Them Niggas worse than Black Girl Lost.
You know what? Wait, hold. Nas is Coming's probably the worst song on there.
Here we go with this shit.
It is. I never liked
it. So hold on. So Nas is Coming. Watch Them Niggas and Black Girl Lost are what we're arguing about for the bottom three songs?
Yeah.
Mike, I'm about to wax you.
Nah.
let's just line the 13 songs.
What are the bottom three songs on ATLiens?
Oh, Mike, here's the thing about ATLiens is that, well, nothing is really bad, but there's not a lot of epic shit on there. It's just really good. It's like I told you, that stretch where they have...
Yeah, I can't wait.
Like, how about this? Two Dope Boys. Hold on. Mike, Two Dope Boys, ATLiens, and Wheels of Steel. Mike, those aren't hip-hop classics. Those are Southern rap classics to people. That's what I keep trying to tell you. No, I fucking love some Wheels of Steel. Wheels of Steel might be my favorite record on ATLiens. You're not thinking objectively. You don't understand that other people don't feel about these records the way that we do.
What if I told you Take It in Blood is an East Coast classic?
No, Mike, Take It in Blood is just a classic. Lupe swears by Take It in Blood. He's from the west side of Chicago. You can't say that. That's what I'm saying. Heavy. Like, that's what I mean about Take It in Blood. There's somebody like Lupe that heard Take It in Blood. It's like, that's the best lyrical rap song I've ever heard. I want to take it further. There's nothing on ATLiens that made somebody from another region span out and think that way about the song. And that's without bringing up I Gave You Power.
We'll play
or If I Rule the World, Mike. We ain't even talked about the singles, Mike. Like, If I Rule the World is the biggest hit between all of the songs that are on these two albums. You understand that, right?
No, I agree with that.
Elevators.
Yeah. That doesn't make it the best, though, you know.
I mean, no, Elevators is a better record, Mike, but, you know, we keep on talking about, like, how all these other things matter, and it's like, no, hits do matter, too, and it's like, no, he got his hit records on there, he got his bar game up on there, his hook game is on there, his stories are on there. ATLiens is not better. Because you're putting his second best album, because, like, that's what I'm saying. If he's the greatest MC of all time, if you think that's Outkast, what best album, Mike? Third best album?
Third.
So you trying to compare Outkast's third best album to Nas' second best album, and you think that that's a competition?
I do.
That's regional bias, Mike. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You're being regional biased the way the New Yorkers have been regionally biased towards us.
Well,
you're just reversing the hand. That ain't no conversation.
I'll put it in the poll.
Because It Was Written gets mentioned with Reasonable Doubt and All Eyes on Me, and ATLiens needs to get mentioned with Muddy Waters and Illadelph Half-Life. Because it's a classic, but it ain't like that.
Born King says, nothing was touching All Eyes on Me in ATL. The album had 559 on blast, yeah. Shout out to 559. We got somebody who's really been in the A for real. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, Coop is a master debater. We'll say, find it's a better song, and then adjust his glasses and say, but is it better lyrically? LOL. Love Coop. CJ Kidd also says ATLiens versus Check the Rhyme. Yeah,
That's Check the Rhyme.
Yeah, that's definitely Check.
That's why I said you can't play those cast hits against Tribe and think that you're going to win. You need to play the best cast song.
They said those albums aren't comparable, but you know what? We're going to try. We're going to go track for track on our Patreon.
Just for those of you who are wondering, yes, I was on the debate team at Redan Middle School, East Side. ATL stand up. Yes, right. I was on the debate team in middle school, man. They didn't have no debate team when I moved to Charlotte, but I would have been on there and I would have waxed them like I'm going to wax Esquire when I finally pull up on the trivia. Does this? I had an attorney try me this week, Mike. She found out the wrong way that I am not the guy.
CJ Kidd says, just do a 9-track versus between Illmatic versus Akumanai. LOL. Huh.
You don't want to do that either. Like, you don't want to do that either. I don't want to do it, the cast.
I would love to take Akumanai on that. I'm cool with that.
I bet you would. You're not going to win that either.
Yo, let's talk about this Eminem XXL interview. We kind of talked about the fact that he had the cover last time, and the interview hadn't been released yet.
Correct.
Eminem talks about a lot of things in this interview. I don't really know where to start. What did you take away from the interview?
It felt like he had autonomy because it felt like he was able to just give them whatever it is that he wrote or he put together, and it doesn't appear to have much editing, and the timeline sometimes is choppy and shaky. That's the technical side of me coming out. It just likes to, I like reading stuff that excites. I like shit that excites me. So it's like I like when a writer puts the words together beautifully, wonderfully, and it flows. This was kind of choppy and fragmented. Some of the dates are kind of like questionable in terms of the in and out. And so what I really got from the actual writing side of it is that he got full autonomy to pretty much say what he wants, which almost never happens for an MC. And that's why I'm saying that. It's like, well, unless you're Jay, you don't get to pen like whole letters where you control the whole narrative and get to put it out in a media publication. Right. They're going to edit and skew it some of how the way that they need it skewed. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So he's getting to speak with the freedom that I've only seen Jay speak with in terms of penning a sort of interview, because it doesn't feel like it's an interview at all, because the interview has questions.
Right.
Okay, so this isn't an interview.
This is kind of, and it's interesting you say that, because it's kind of like,
this is a letter to the editor.
This is a reintroduction, right? Like this is where M is now. I feel like he's kind of trying to reintroduce himself to the world in a sense, because let's be honest. I mean, elephant in the room. His legacy with all of this internet talk and people talking about they don't play his music, he's not this and that. His legacy has taken a bit of a hit over the past 5 years, and I would say that Lord Jamar and some of his sentiments that a lot of us agree with, myself included, have had a lot to do with that. And it feels like a lot of this in this interview is combating some of those sentiments. One thing that really stood out to me, and I think I sent this to you as soon as I read it, is when he said, and this is me circling it for Coop, he was talking about the fact of, where he wants to be as a rapper. He said, he was talking about basically, my writing process is different now than it was back then, or back in the day. It used to be, give me whatever piece of paper is laying around, and I'm going to write some ideas down. Sometimes I wish that I could have that freedom back. At the beginning of my career, I had this whole canvas that I could paint on. I haven't made songs about this, songs about that. I can make a song about this. The more I paint on that canvas, all of a sudden you've made a song about every single thing that you could fucking possibly think of. So I start getting in my own head. Go ahead.
That's not true.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like an editor is going to take that and flip that and turn that, because that's not a true sentiment. Like music is always going to exist because there's always a way that people have. You internalize it and express it in your way. It's no idea is original. There's nothing new under the sun. It's never what you do, but how it's done.
Facts.
Right.
He said, and then this is the part I found interesting. If I had a choice between being the best rapper or making the best albums, I'd rather be the best rapper. That's how I rap, to be the best rapper. I've always thought, again, I thought, speaking of criteria, because we were just talking about criteria, I think one of the criteria of being the best rapper is making the best albums, right? Isn't that why we harp on people's catalogs? Isn't that why we, post images of, You know, what people have done album for album. Even that debate you and I just had about ATLians and It Was Written is about the albums. So I don't
Well,
really understand that statement per se. How are you the best rapper, but not focusing on making the best albums?
okay, so what I would tell you is that, I mean, and I'm literally like writing it down. I'm like, no, like all of these guys have like multiple classic albums. Like I'm writing out the top 10 that we usually make.
Right.
And right now, I want you to listen to this. It's like, well, obviously, you know, there's the two, Nas and Jay. It's like, well, they have so many classics and borderline classics. It's not fair to everybody else standing here. Rakim, I mean, Mike, you got 3, maybe 4 classics in some people's minds. Definitely 3, right?
Right.
KRS got probably 2 group classics, 2 solo classics, maybe 3 group classics and 2 solo. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Scarface got what, 3 classics at least? Some people think 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Mike, Ghostface got 3 classics. Some people think maybe 4 or 5. Mike, Ice Cube got 3 classics. Yeah. So, it appears, I mean, who else do we got like in that top 10-ish area that I'm missing?
Well, I want to say something before I lose my train of thought, though.
Go ahead.
You know who focused on being the best rapper and not making the best album? Canibus. And he got crucified for it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
those are facts.
Why isn't this the same energy or the same balance?
Okay, so can I tell you something, Mike? And this is what I mean about how I don't like this statement. Well, after those guys that I just named, I never know where to go, because part of what separates those guys clearly for me is that they are all clearly in possession of 3 classics.
Yeah.
Okay? And then we go to Biggie and Pac. You feel me?
Right.
And so it's like, well, damn. Pac got 3 classics too.
Let me go to the super chats real quick.
And then there's Big Mike, who made 2 albums and they're classics. So it's like, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, that's 9 of the 10 right there, Mike. And it's like, no, they all got heavy hitting classic album material under their belts. Don't tell me that. Because now you're disrespecting people's top 10s.
Because at the end of the day, especially when we talk about the great groups in hip hop, they have multiple classics too.
We're having this Tribe and Outkast fight because we both know that they have how many classics? Definitely 3.
At least 3.
Correct. That's why we're having the fight on Patreon.
Jay Short with the super chat says, people sleep on Me Against the World as the best lyrical album ever. You have to be prepared. You have to prepare your ears because the bars has a purpose. It's a listening experience. Let me get to some of the other super chats as well.
Content-wise, he might be right.
Yeah.
Content-wise, as far as the content, there's not more content on one rap album in terms of somebody explaining who they are, what they're going through, and providing you the details of it like Me Against the World. So if he wants to talk lyrical content, yes.
Dear Mama's on there. Man with the super chat says, M looks like a human Chucky doll on the cover. LOL. 007 with the super chat says, It Was Written was better than Reasonable Doubt. Do the rundown again. Play the ish live and analyze the evidence, please. 007 is going hard on that one. CJ Kidd says, my mind's set. Sun got wet. I'm vexed, really.
Really. Snacked up his Rolex. Smacked this bitch silly. When niggas acting ill, word to Willie, about to feel it.
I feel it.
We should have been dealt with it.
CJ Kidd with the super chat says, I peep you frontin'. I was in the Jeep, sunk in the seat, tinted with heat, beats bumping.
Behind the street, you was wildin', talking about how you ran the island in 89. Laying up, playing the y'all with Crazy Shine. I've listened to this stuff so much, I don't even listen to it anymore, and it like just comes back to me. That's what I mean. It's that shit grew a lot of us up. You know what I'm saying?
CJ Kidd says, top 5 hip-hop collectives. Question mark. Yeah, we'll get to that too. Jay Short says, after Eminem fans and the media failed to coup to make him the GOAT. Failed the coup to make him the GOAT of hip hop. This is damage control. They didn't expect the pushback. That's what it feels like. It feels like, and that statement, to piggyback off of that whole statement about I'm focused on being the best rapper, not making the best albums. Now, I know that songs make albums. I feel like that is damage control on the notion that people are saying that folks don't play any of his music. You know what
Well,
I'm saying? So it's like, so now when somebody says that, an Eminem fan can say, well, he's focused on
nope,
being the best rapper, not making the best
nope.
albums.
And here's okay. So guess what I'm about to submit to you? If that's your real premise, because listen what I'm about to say. Look at the names we just list off, and this really is a lot of people's top 10. It's Nas, J, Rakim, KRS, Scarface, Ghostface, Ice Cube, Biggie, Pac. That's 9, right? So if he's worried, he's talking about song for song, right? Right?
Well,
He said he's
talking
worried about
about
making
being
a
the best
song.
rapper. No, he's talking about being
Best
the best
rapper.
rapper,
So,
not making the best album. He didn't say anything about song, but again, we know
see,
songs
this is
make
what I mean.
albums.
He has to be talking in song format because if you're not being concerned with your album expression, that means every time you spit a verse on a song, that's your concern is to make the record dope, correct?
He didn't say that.
That's
being
what
the
we're going
best
to have
rapper.
to infer because it's like, well, how else are you going to express that unless you're going to make songs, right?
I think it feels like it's being expressed in a way where I'm just being a rapidy rap cipher type of situation.
No, see, I'm not going to let you do so you don't get to move the goalpost because here's the thing about it. I just named 9 guys, but here's the guy that you probably want at number 10, and I would probably take him at number 10 too, and his name is LL Cool J.
Yeah.
And why would we have him there? Because he's a great what?
Songwriter.
He a great what, Mike?
Yeah, he makes great songs.
How many hits do LL got? Have we talked about how he's the real problem in all this? Because nobody has. How about this?
Nobody's going to go hit for hit with LL Cool J.
Biggie and Pac may have bigger hits, but don't nobody got the line of hits because he knows how to make a fucking dope ass song.
In every era.
We ain't even gonna get the era, none of that. And so what I'm trying to say is that any way you want to try to move this goalpost, you can't move it because people like LL exist who you and I sometimes question how classic his classic material is. And we have people older than us come check us and be like, I said radio was a classic, Coop. I'm 51. I came from South Jamaica. Radio is a classic, Coop. I'm like, okay. My cousin checked me about not calling radio a classic. He was like, if you ever say live on air again that radio is not a classic, I'm gonna smack the shit out of you next time I see you.
Radio is a classic. No, I was telling you that. I was like, radio and bad.
We're good. Nope. All apologies. We're good here. So in LL, we have somebody that has classic albums because some people swear by Bigger and Deffer and I'm Bad and feel like he has 3 classics too on top of the hits and song making.
Yeah.
Now you tell me where Eminem fits into the canon of the 10 people we just mentioned, and that's without going to guys like Slick Rick, Cool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane, Kendrick Lamar, Jada Kiss, Raekwon. Can I interest you in Redman? Maybe Snoop Dogg.
Speaking of Snoop, I didn't like how it was presented like him and Snoop had a problem. All Snoop said was everything that we all say. I could live without Eminem's music. That's not somebody having a problem with you. They just being real. And Snoop's from the 80s. The guys he grew up on is Slick Rick. Guys he grew up on is Kane, Rakim. And he sees you as the guy who came in that Dre took in to work with. He saw this stuff get put together. He wasn't blown away, obviously. And when Kendrick came in, what did he do? He crowned Kendrick, right?
They all had a show where they crowned, but they were all there.
Exactly. And he did that on his own. So I don't like how they try to create this narrative that him and Snoop had a problem. It's no problem. Your music just doesn't hold up with the rest of these guys. And you just said it here. Your focus is like, if I had to choose between being the best rapper or making the best albums, I'd rather be the best rapper. I don't really know what that means other than the fact that making albums and making great songs isn't the focus. The focus is how many syllables I can put. How many syllables I can put in this verse and how many rhymes can rhyme with the next rhyme and the next rhyme.
So this is why we're not about to let him run from that. And I'm about to tell you why. I want you to listen to this. See, we're going to go back to the GOAT talk conversation. Do you hear any Eminem guest appearances that were like the guest appearances that I was telling you that Jay didn't have. It's like, remember I was telling you, Jay don't have no eye for an eye, verbal intercourse. What do you think he has? It's like, see, when you got to start putting it on a scale and really start weighing it out. When it's hard for somebody like Jay to have the classic guest appearances that Nas has, like Live at the Barbecue, verbal intercourse. What you think M got? So when he's talking about being the best rapper, it's like, no, what you're talking about is Nas. That's why Nas is the best rapper, because what you're even talking about doing on record, you're either talking about it in song and hit making format. If you're talking about song and hit making format, that's LL. If you're just talking about just showing up and showing out, well, that's Nas. Live at the Barbecue, Fast Life, Eye for an Eye, verbal intercourse. Your shit don't read like that. Nas shit read like that. That's why Nas is the GOAT. So if that's your focus, then the measure is Live at the Barbecue, verbal intercourse, eye for an eye, fast life. You get what I'm saying? It's like, show me the evidence where you got that.
I guess you could say patiently waiting, dead wrong. Don't push me. I'm trying to go through
verses that's what I'm saying, Mike. You're naming those verses versus verbal intercourse and Live at the Barbecue. It's like next, because that's not even Murdergram or Blackout level.
Well, no,
that's what
Jay
I'm trying to say. That's not even Jay's level.
Versus. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like you gotta, and all I've always told you is that, no, I've always thought that he's a dope rapper, and I still do. I just think this scale needs to be weighted out fairly about where he really deserves to be appropriately ranked. And because he is white, there has been some slight privilege involved with his placement, because he sold so many records and moved so many units because of his whiteness. And we have to stop ignoring that, and we have to start ranking him and rating him for the MC that he is.
Well, now, based on
your rundown, Mike, he's got one in a possible for a classic, and so that makes him a top 25 to 50-ish MC.
Ryan Gillum with the super chat says, "How do you guys feel about Ab-Soul's new song? It was cool.
It was cool.
Yeah,
right.
I like it.
So okay with
I expected.
You're just okay with it.
It was okay." 007 says, "Second verse on Smoking is straight poetry and a personal favorite. Spit that ish live, Coop. My nigga smoking with one lung. If he cough, he might die." Yeah.
The liquor bottle's almost empty. We about to collide with the enemy. Only way you die if it's meant to be. You fucking with the general. No discussion is the principle. We busting it's the end of you. Now we knocking on your mama door like we came to fix the sink. My kind of war. Death. Angels running from you. God, I ain't listened to that shit in forever.
Right.
Spirit force running from your body like Young Guns 1 and 2.
Yo, he was
paramedics fighting for you. Who's gonna win? The hands of time or the hands of medicine?
Yo, he was killing Stillmatic, man.
He was killing Stillmatic. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You don't like smoking. It's like, man, his bar game crazy on Stillmatic, like throughout. Hey, I'm just letting y'all know. See, okay, so Mike, I'm gonna just little side note. Some of the things that happen when you're in the woods and it starts getting cold outside. Birds start flying in and making nests in the basement. We have another bird sighting in here today. I already had to fly one young bird out. I think somebody's laid a nest of eggs in here, and the birds are starting to hatch and come out. I'm not joking, because I had to shoot one out the house today, and there's a couple over here. I think that I can hear rustling, like the eggs are literally hatching.
Oh, well, take care of what you got to take care of when you got to take care of it.
I mean, if y'all see me bust a move, if you see me bust a move and take the laptop upstairs, you know what time it is.
CJ Kid with the super chat says, "Mike, I love when you read the super chats," and with the smile say, "We'll get to that too," and breeze through. Love your show, best show ever. Appreciate the love, man. We love the love. CJ also says, "Coop, would you feel confident repping Nas in a Nas versus LL Cool J versus?" Never knock a brother. I'm anti-jail for real. Smooth criminals still locked in the human flesh shield. I love that.
Because I got shit like Death Row East now to play. You understand? Only because I got shit like Death Row East to play. Next question.
See, I never knock a brother. I'm anti-jail for real. Smooth criminal skill locked in the human flesh shield. That's my song. Dice game. Crazy. I see me as Hasi Selassie in my kingdom. Sipping Space Spumante. Jeez. A writer's writer, man.
He'll write it 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. He will literally write the same song 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, who can do that? KD with the super chat says, M is an example of someone who's got a 10 in technical skills and a 10 in impact, mainly because of white people, but complete 0 in subject matter plus discography.
No,
I don't think
viable.
his subject
That's
matter
what I mean.
is bad.
No, he's a live candidate. How about this?
Yeah. I think his connection's low. I don't think the subject matter's low because he talks about a lot. I give him
the subject matter's there.
Yeah.
Quality of subject matter could be questioned.
I got you. I agree with that.
The quality of the subject matter could be questioned, but whether there's variety in subject matter cannot be questioned. How would you rank him in relationship to the people who you gave the album of the year to? And that would be Yasin Bey and Talib Kweli. Where is he as an MC in comparison to them? Because I told you neither one of them can be viably in my top 20 about their catalog.
Both of them are
and
better.
They've made and their catalog's better than his.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's no question. Jay
right.
Short
So,
with the super...
so hold on, Mike. So where is he really? Is he better all time than Yasin or Talib?
No.
Because I don't have either one of them in my top 20 because their catalog hasn't spoken to it.
Well, he's not better than them.
So he's not top 20.
No.
But he gets talked about in the breath of Big, Pac, Jay, and Nas, which is literally...
But who talks about him?
Media.
Exactly. Jay Short with the super chat says, if M just wanted to be a rapper, where's the mixtapes? Good question.
Those are...
If you want to just rap... Yeah, I mean, if you want to just rap and making albums aren't important, where are the mixtapes?
Jay Short is the detective in the room that says, well, how are we going to say that when we don't have no evidence? We need to go get some evidence.
Mad Max with the super chat says LL's top 4. He said LL's top 4, Pac, Nas, Ra, and L. I'm 26 and GOAT album was fire. I remember when the GOAT album dropped, man. Ill Bomb was crazy. Ill Bomb had us thinking that LL had turned over a new leaf.
Ill Bomb's a classic.
It is. Okay. So a lot of this stuff in this interview was about competitiveness and competitive nature. He was talking about he looks to people like Kendrick and Cole. I think he named Joyner Lucas and Big Sean's. Like he wants to see what they're doing because he wants to compete. Again, being the best rapper. He's not backing down on being the best rapper. But with all this competitive talk, he still hasn't responded to the games, the Black Slim Shady. That's one thing. But I think that how can you be the best rapper if albums and making songs aren't important and you're not willing to jump into that battle rap ring? Because it sounds like from a competitive level, he's handling this like a battle rapper because he said he didn't care about his sales. He said he wishes he could trade his sales for, I guess, respect or something like that. But you need to have the music. It's easy to say that.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's what everybody says after they've made all the money and sold all the records. They never say that before.
Exactly. I agree with that 100%.
Now, here's what I did like. No, I did find this to be slightly true, though. Him and Royce are obviously stylistically wise, especially early big Redman fans. And when he brought up the fact that they talked about how Redman was just going gold and keeping it street, and how it changed so fast from that. No, I really believe that happened to him. Like, because here's the thing about it. People forget, too. He got to the league a little late, technically, for a rapper, too. Well, he's 24.
Yeah.
He's already like, and unfortunately for him, because here's what I mean about he's not short on subject matter. Well, when you're 24 and you're coming from an inner city and you're impoverished, well, chances are you've been in some sort of dysfunctional sexual relationship and you probably had a kid. Well, he had both. He was not short on subject matter.
Yeah, he lived life. This is what I will say, though. I hear what he said in the interview, but it contradicts everything that followed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, okay, the Slim Shady LP, that could be viewed as a record where, okay, I didn't try to go out there and sell, even though I still think he did. But he didn't approach this from a I want to go gold mentality. And like you said, now it's after the fact, after you sold more than everybody, after things didn't kind of turn out from a respect level that you thought they would because of those numbers. Now you want to trade in all of that for the respect. You know what I'm saying? Like he was out there with the blonde hair. He dyed his hair blonde, the contacts and all that. You did everything you needed to do to sell. You didn't approach this from a raucous way. You had the raucous pad.
Here's what I will tell you to play devil's advocate to that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what he's speaking to in terms of how he's behaving, in terms of how he's not feeling the love or feeling the respect, that would kind of coincide with Wendy Day's story about how he got signed, now wouldn't it? Because it's like people weren't like because he's coming like, no, I want you to listen now. He's talking like emotionally from a place of not feeling respected. He's already been around for a minute though.
Yeah.
Like he's talking in there, letting you know, he's saying he was starting to think it wasn't going to happen, Mike.
Yeah.
That means he had been trying to make it happen. That means like things like the Rap Olympics and stuff like that had already been in play, and he had already probably been out here spending a little bit of money that he did have trying to make it shake. And this is what I mean. He's being low key insightful. He's letting you know, when my first album came out, I was living at Kim's place, like the baby mama's place, as in like I didn't have my own crib. I'm staying with her. So imagine living with your baby mama, but you're in her crib. You're trying to be a rapper. You're a white rapper from Detroit. The shit's not working. You go into Atlanta for a Rap Olympics and you make it all the way to the final, and then you get what I'm saying?
It was LA,
so
right? LA. The Rap Olympics was in LA.
Atlanta. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. But
I'm
talking about all the
circumstances
it's building the frame of mind. I'm talking about the circumstances it's building the frame of mind of him talking about, well, really, after all that, it's like, well, shit, all you do just want is a gold plaque and some respect, because you can't even get that. You probably got your baby mama on your ass. You're staying at her crib. You're running around the country trying to rap.
You know what I found interesting, too? I pay attention.
Ain't no white woman trying to hear that either. Brothers think it's just a black woman. No, the white chicks ain't trying to hear that shit either. You want to go rap?
You know what I found interesting, though, man? I think that, I'm really paying attention to details and whatnot. When he referred to his first album, he wasn't referring to Infinite.
No, he's referring to the Slim Shady LP, because Infinite's not a real album. Infinite is part of the failure that's coming from him wanting respect.
But again,
he's showing his whole hand.
But it's what made him qualified to get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year. And he doesn't even consider Infinite his first album. He referred to, he didn't explicitly say the Slim Shady LP, but you could chronologically see that he was talking about Slim Shady LP, because when he started talking about the second album, he mentioned Stan, right? He doesn't even consider Infinite his first album, but the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame still found some way to do
because he knows. That's what I mean. He's showing his whole hand. That's what I mean is like the timeline is broken up, but he's letting you inside his insecurities.
It's a lot.
He really is.
Yeah.
That's why I told you it's a letter to the editor. It's not an interview. It's a letter to the editor. He's letting you inside the insecurities of all the things that built him into the frame of mind that's built him. But that's what I'm saying is like some of that frame of mind is broken because the industry kind of broke him before he ever even broke in, because he was white. And so really he had already been broken to the point before he walked in that really he was cool with a gold plaque and some success. And so listen to the juxtaposition I'm about to give you. Well, that doesn't make him too much more uncommon than that 21, 22-year-old black guy coming out of Detroit that's about to get drafted into the NBA or the NFL. Right. Very meager and meek circumstances and not a lot of big expectations. And then you throw a ton of money and fame in their face and they are not ready to deal with it. What is usually going to happen? They'll be like, man, how do they get strung out on drugs and alcohol and end up with 3 wives and 7 kids? It's like, well, you gave a 22, 23, 24-year-old that literally comes from the worst of the worst and the bottom of the bottom, all this money, power, and fame that literally happened within a 6 to 9 month period, and you're expecting them to cope with it appropriately when they haven't even dealt with the trauma of the existence that they come from?
There's a lot of similarities. It's realistic
to ask that out of human beings, and so he's showing how human he is in some of this.
And I'm not saying this to be tongue-in-cheek or whatever. There are really a lot of similarities between Elvis and Eminem, in the
between
sense
who?
Huh?
Between who?
Between Elvis and Eminem, in the sense
I don't think Elvis was in the impoverished situation that M is in. Have you been to 8 Mile before,
Well, Elvis was in an impoverished situation. I don't know what the part of Memphis he was in was like
where was he
in the
at in
1950s, but he grew up around black people. You know what I'm saying? So
no, he was in Memphis, Mike. So he grew up around black people. But where was he in Memphis?
I'm not sure. I can't speak to where Elvis was in the 50s. But what I will say is
Memphis funny.
I would say this. I think that both of them come from humble beginnings in a sense where they didn't see how big they could be, but everybody who was involved with them knew where they could take them. And when they got there, it all happened so fast for them. You know what I mean? I don't think Eminem was prepared to be the biggest rapper in the game. You know?
No, see, Mike,
I don't think Elvis was even prepared for being what
Eminem and Elvis, I'm sorry, Eminem and Elvis aren't special in that regard. Nobody's ready for that.
Yeah. Nobody.
There was no sort of build up, Mike. Like even let's go back to Nas again. Well, no. We first heard Nas in '91. We didn't hear Illmatic till '94. No, he had time and build up. No, it literally went one day from this dude being at his baby mama house to being in the studio with Dre.
He said 3 weeks.
It happened that fast. You think that you know? I mean, this
is what I mean. I'm a devil's
advocate. Don't tell me that you're prepared for that type of life change. You're sitting up here probably in a trailer in Detroit, and then you're in a studio in Sherman Oaks, California a few weeks later. Like, no, you're not ready for that. Like, don't tell me you're ready for that at 24. I was in Cali when I was 24. I wasn't ready for Cali at 24. That's part of how my ass ended up back here at 26.
CJ Kidd with the super chat said, better song and concept and execution, I Gave You Power or Rewind?
Both.
I'm going to say Rewind.
No, really. It was written. I Gave You Power is the concept because he took a concept from both, but he made I Gave You Power more of his song. If you're familiar with the movie Memento, you know that Rewind is a straight music version of Memento, whereas he took I Gave You Power and made, what was that, Organized Confusion song?
A Straight Bullet. He took Straight Bullet and made people forget Straight Bullet existed. You know what I'm saying? Memento still exists and is movie-wise a classic. Rewind. Jay Short with the super chat says, Son's backwards flow. They say mine is very scary. Smell fear
like a canine when it finds buried babies. And all of y'all wear the same aroma. Want to learn how to blow on your 8th LP? I show you. You whack nigga, face it. In the history of the game, you have no placement. That's Nazareth Savage off Streets Disciple.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I think it's some more super chats we want to get to. Durant Swan says, LL said his album done executive produced by Q-Tip. I'll believe it when I hear it. Q-Tip's never done with an album. And I say that respectfully. You're my favorite artist. Jay Short with the super chat says, notice M didn't name contemporaries as his competition. Well, I guess he couldn't, right? There's still a Black Slim Shady out there. CJ Kidd says, Coop, what do you think would have happened to Nas's career had he signed to Murder Inc. When he was supposed to? Need that breakdown.
I think he was just sidestepping all the Fed stuff because he's seen, Supreme and all that.
Did you see the documentary?
Like, oh, no, we won't be doing that.
Did you see the documentary yet?
No, I haven't. All right, that's what we're doing next. I'm doing the documentary next. When is the documentary done so we can do like a documentary recap?
Yeah, it's done. Yeah.
I'm going to go binge watch it.
Yeah.
What's it on BET, you said?
Yeah, it's on BET.
Of course.
What I think is interesting, though, and I think Jay Short said something about him not mentioning his contemporaries as competition. I don't understand how can you be competitive if you're not concentrated, and I hate to be repetitive, on making albums. I don't get it. Where's the bar? What are we basing this on?
Hold on. Imagine 50 having this mindset while he was making mixtapes before he got signed. What was the whole point of signing to M and Dre?
Exactly.
It was to make the biggest possible album. Because he was already doing mixtapes and making music and songs. He was already getting love. Think about this. 50 was getting crowned king of New York while Nas and Jay were running around and were viable.
This is the thing, man. And I'm glad you mentioned 50. A lot of rappers that come from a certain area, black rappers just have to dumb down their flow. Jay's done it. 50 did it. 50 rapped different before he was trying to actually make radio
That's the
friendly
50
material.
I love, Mike.
But I'm just saying, it's like everybody has to do this. So it's like
the guy before.
Yeah,
The guy before. Oh, that guy can rap his ass off, Mike.
he can still do it. He just knows how to put what he's doing in a more palatable format.
He's still great, but that guy was a queen spitter.
It's about connecting, though. You know what I'm saying? And I think that what Eminem doesn't realize, or at least he doesn't highlight, he benefits from the fact that the label will put a song like "Stand" out for you in 2000. When Jigga has to go out there and make "Give It to Me." They're not gonna put out this "Can't Be Life" with Jigga. You know what I'm saying?
Well, how about this? No.
They're not gonna make a music video for Rewind. You know what I mean? Like he has to make "Got Yourself a Gun."
No, I'm gonna tell you what. You want to know what actually happened with Eminem, especially on the first two albums? Well, they put a lot of his best stuff out that could be put out. Like The Way I Am and Stand are arguably the two best songs on the Marshall Mathers LP. Well, they got put out, but they got put out for a reason. Those songs aren't traditional singles, but the music is great.
Yeah.
The same thing with Guilty Conscience. Do you really think that they wanted to use Guilty Conscience, or was Guilty Conscience the best thing that they heard on the Slim Shady LP?
This is the thing, though, Coop. I feel like for a lot of rappers, that just never happened for them. Like they'll put out the candy shit, and then it's like the stuff on the album is the meat. Well, with him, he was able to put out these songs as hit records.
Let's go to the counterpart that he signed in 50. It's like, well, 50 got to make In the Club.
He does.
21 Questions.
Yeah.
And Candy Shop. And I Get Money.
Yeah.
He's got to do those records. He can't come out and make something like
Baltimore Love Thing or something
Baltimore
like
Love
that.
Thing. I was thinking the Hustler's Ambition off of Young Bucks album. You remember Hustler's Ambition? I'm a bona fide hustler.
Mm-hmm.
And Hustler's Ambition. Yeah, bona fide hustler, Hustler's Ambition. Oh no, he can't drop them records as singles. That was the most fire shit though.
Well, Hustler's Ambition from the Get Rich or Die Trying soundtrack is one of his best songs. But again,
it might be his best
he
song.
was only able to put that out in the concept of a movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I cook crack in the kitchen. They call me Chef Boyard 50.
That was his Lose Yourself. And actually, I think the song's better than Lose Yourself.
See, he has to do Wanksta and In the Club, though. That's what I'm saying. He can't do Many Men.
They put Many Men out, though. But they didn't put it out,
Right. He has to do In the Club. Go.
Yeah.
Go. It's your birthday. He can't do Many Men. Many men. Wish death upon. Like, he has to drop In the Club and 21 Questions first. You feel what I'm saying? M just gets to do what he wants. And that's that Priv. That's that Priv.
I'll tell you what.
If
Get Rich or Die Trying was Eminem's album, What Up Gangsta would have been a single. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of shit that he gets.
The hard shit on 50's album, you want to know what we did? We said, fuck it, and made the hard shit on 50's album a single anyway. It's like, we're playing What Up Gangsta and Many Men anyway. Back Down was getting played in the club, Mike.
Yeah. Look, if Eminem made the Blueprint, You Don't Know would be a single. You know what I'm saying? Like, we would have a video for You Don't Know. And I think that he needs to appreciate the fact that he was able to put out records like that and they be able to have the legs that they had. Because most rappers in 2000 weren't able to put out a song like Stand and it'd be a hit. You know what I mean? Like a concept record.
Do that now.
Yeah. CJ Kid with the super chat says, do you feel like Nas would have helped against the Aftermath Shady G Unit onslaught? Nah, he wouldn't have gotten all that.
Right.
Nah. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, M wants to be the best lyrical miracle rapper, but doesn't seem to understand that if it isn't palatable for hip hop fans, then the rapidy rap doesn't matter. That's it. Bottom line. I mean, we don't care about the syllables and all that. That's cool. We will care about Kane's syllables when he made Ain't No Half Stepping. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to make a song that people can get with, that connects.
Right.
So, yeah. But, yeah, I think overall it was an interesting interview, and I think that a lot of the things that you guys have been saying, the grassroots, is the reason why this interview even happened. Because I don't think he even has an album in sight, so I don't even understand where this is coming from other than the 25th anniversary of XXL. But, I mean, that doesn't mean too much to him, I would imagine.
No, I told you, Mike. they need each other because the record is getting to skipping and slowing down. And there are MCs like J. Cole, and there are, there are people like According to Hip Hop that do podcasts now. So things are changing for Double XL, and they're changing for Eminem. And so what they're doing the same thing that they see the major business entities do before them, and that's get together to keep their staying power along as long as they can. And that's business, and it's good business and smart business. They're both, the business acumen is high on both sides because they're both in a place of needing each other and using each other, and that's exactly what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But quote Shaquille O'Neal and Biggie Smalls, you can't stop the rain.
The only thing that can stop this is great music. I mean, we saw what Magic, and not to go back on the Nas tangent.
No, he's the reference point. He's the GOAT. That's why he's the GOAT, because he's a reference point for all this shit.
I mean, good music, just like, in any sport, great play on the field can silence everything. You know what I mean? Winning silences everything. So all M got to do is just go out here and put out some great music. That's it.
Okay, so no. So hold on. You just made me think about something. Think about what Biggie Smalls did on a track with Shaquille O'Neal. Like, You Can't Stand the Rain is a hip-hop classic because Biggie spazzed on a level where it's like, well, that might be the greatest MC walking. You show me where Eminem's taking a talent like a Shaquille O'Neal and made a classic hip-hop record where you're like, but that's that dude. We playing that record. Like, think about Obi Trice's album. Obi Trice is a 10 times better MC than Shaquille O'Neal. There ain't one You Can't Stop the Rain on Obi Trice's Cheers, and that's a dope album. You feel what I'm saying about the level? Yeah. Biggie can go take somebody like a Shaq and go make You Can't Stop the Rain, Mike. You're not on that level. They put you on that level. No, we just gonna sit up here. And so we're not hating. We're not being reverse racist. No, we're rating you properly.
Yeah.
Biggie Smalls can take Shaquille O'Neal and make a classic hip hop song.
We can't change the goalposts or, move the goalposts for certain individuals, and again, I'm a J fan. Here's where the privilege really exists I'm a J fan. And so when we start breaking down everything that Nas has done, I got to keep it real. It's like, okay, well, he is ahead.
Well, this is what I'm saying, where the privilege is real. The privilege is actually real not only when you get it, but when you feel entitled to it as if you deserved it or if you earned it. And it's like, no, like you already got the privilege. Now go earn the privilege.
Yeah. Do it through
You already got it. Go earn it. Like, I hear what you're saying. I don't have a problem with anything that's being said. I think you nice. I think you a dope MC. Go prove it. Like they told, like these media publications the last 20, 25 years have been telling me that you were Biggie Smalls, Jay-Z, Nas level. Go prove it, because they got evidence. Like, think about this, Mike. Name one Eminem song that you play over You Can't Stop the Rain. That's not even a Biggie song. Name me the Eminem song that you play over You Can't Stop the Rain.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. Now think about what I'm saying when I'm saying that we don't not get even off Biggie's catalog for Biggie to fade you, and Biggie don't even have that deep of a catalog.
But what he would say is, I don't focus on making those songs. How many syllables did Biggie use in his last verse on?
The bar work is stellar on You Can't Stop the Rain. That's why we like it, Mike.
But what's the syllable count, though, Coop?
Syllable count is ridiculous.
Who cares about a syllable?
How can niggas say that I sound like them? Hello, push. No. The word. You talking about the word count? Like Luke Baby talking that word count shit?
Yeah. Shoot up your days in any telling you in. No one cares about that. No one started talking about syllables.
How did it make you feel? Did it give you goosebumps when you heard them flow like that? Exactly. How about that?
Exactly. Nobody started talking about
syllables like that. It gives me goosebumps.
Nobody started talking about syllables and all that shit until M came along. That was never the bar.
All I know is when Biggie Smalls flows on You Can't Stop the Rain, it gives me the chills still. It's like, incredible. Damn, this nigga nice. Like, he's nice. Yeah. Like, to this day, Mike, I'd be like, oh, he's nice. Like, Mike, we were kids when we heard it. No, we grown ass men. I'm like, oh man, he got busy on this. Like, oh my God. No, M don't have
that. You're right. I mean, I'm sitting there going through the verse in my head. Like, allow him to limit my
name the M verse that hits you like Biggie when You Can't Stop the Rain. Like, name it. That's what I'm saying. It's like, no, like, stop that. Like, show me. I want evidence. So all I'm saying is to talk your how about this? spit your game, talk your shit, grab your gat, call your clip. But give me some evidence.
CJ Kid with the super chat says, scariest hip hop album you guys ever heard. Mystic Styles, 3 6 Mafia. Maybe.
I was thinking Scarface's first album.
Mr. Scarface is back?
Yeah.
It's very menacing. Very menacing.
I mean, I was like 10, Mike. It's like
even the
straight out of Compton. Straight out of Compton and Mr. Scarface is back. Yeah, pick one.
Jay Short
I was afraid of Ice Cube and Scarface for most of my childhood.
Jay Short says M thinks he's slick. He's saying Kendrick and Cole is his competition because the bar is lowered now. His real competition is Nas, Thought, and Game. I think also, to piggyback on that, I think he mentioned those names because he knows that these guys are from a different generation and they'll be honored for him to mention their name.
No, they have the multi-syllabic flow that he has too. All of them.
You know, I listen to the music, so it's like, I'm not saying I don't pay attention to it, but like you said with Big, you hear Big, and when he's doing things like what he did on Everyday Struggle, I'm not like, yo, listen to his syllable count. I'm just vibing to the record because the record is so dope. And I remember I've heard One More Chance, the remix, so many times, forever, right? But when I listen to it, even in current time, I'm like, yo, this nigga is really snapping on this record.
It's nice. Sometimes say it every time, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes records get so big and such in circulation that you forget how great the artist is on it. Like, I do that with Michael Jackson stuff all the time. Like, these are standards now. You hear these songs all the time, but when you really listen to them, like you're listening to any other artist, you're like, yo, this is incredible. But so, I don't listen to the counts when it comes to people like Biggie. Listen, the music's so strong.
Some of these guys are so great, you forget how great they are. Mike, Dear Mama starts off, when I was young, me and my mama had beef, 17 years old, kicked out on the streets. That's how the song starts, Mike. Yeah. And though back at the time, I never thought I'd see her face. Ain't a woman alive that could take my mother's place. That's how the song starts. Mike, that's almost better than Eminem's whole career.
Scared to go home. But where are his syllables, though, man?
Fuck a syllable when you talking like that. And even though I sell rocks, it feels good putting money in your mailbox.
I love paying rent when the
rent's due. I hope you got the diamond necklace that I sent to you. Because when I was low, you was there for me and never left me alone because you cared for me. Fuck your lyrical syllables. Fuck your syllables.
That's better than fuck any lyrical. Team.
Fuck your train of thought. That's that shit.
LP says
that shit right there.
LP says syllables don't mean ish if you ain't saying nothing. Agreed.
Period. You gotta be saying something with them syllables. Them syllables gotta mean something. Because if them syllables meant something, you would be the walking standard for bars like Black Thought is. Because his syllables be meaning something when he be saying it.
Yeah, because when you break down,
teaching you something sometimes, I'll be like, "What author is he talking about? What book was that again?"
Yeah, when you break down Black Thought's bars, you're like, "Oh yeah, man, this man's educating me right now."
He was educated.
Yeah,
very, very smart.
Andrew Green with the super chat says, "Being MCs yourselves, what do you think about rappers that can't pinpoint their bar structure, like Nas and Prodigy, with their writing?" Hard to tell where bars begin and end. It's interesting. When I was younger, and I guess even being from the South, I always thought it was so awkward, especially with Prodigy, when he would just switch up flow and stuff like that, and where the bar structure would change and you can't tell where it begins and ends. Mm-hmm. I've grown to appreciate that even more now. I think that's like super dope. Like sometimes, in the flow of a song, it could throw people off. Even like what Jay did on Money Ain't a Thing, even though this is kind of different, where he was like, nigga, I don't play, my jury is light gray. Platinum, spend your life in the day. It's like, when you groove into a song, it stands out, and it's like, what's he doing? But after time, you're like, yo, that's really dope. Styles P does that a lot, too.
He does. No, you're right. Styles does that a lot too. Prodigy was probably the one that probably made it seem the most awkward because he would just pause and go somewhere else and it wouldn't even necessarily rhyme. Mm-hmm. And you'd be like, hold on, what is he doing? But then you go back and listen to him and be like, hold on.
Because what it is
exactly what he's doing.
They're making things connect in another way.
Right.
And it's like The basic way to do it is to make sure everything connects through rhyme. But if you're able to make things that don't rhyme or switching up a flow in the middle of something where people can't tell where it begins and ends and you're connecting in another way, that's dope.
That's him on that's Prodigy on the I Shot Your remix, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
I conversate with many men. It's time to begin again. Forgot what I already knew. You hear me, friend? Then he stops. Mm-hmm. Illuminati with my mind, soul, and my body. Secret society, trying to keep the eye on me. And then he pauses. But I'm going to stay incognito in places they can't find me. Make moves strategically. The G.O.D. is sort of similar but iller than a chess player.
Jeez.
It's like, hold on. I'm like, what is he doing? I was like, did he just stop and say it's kind of like chess, but it's sort of similar, but iller than a chess player? It's like, that doesn't rhyme with anything that he just said.
Right.
I coincide with the thinker and use my blinker, and then he pauses again. While you motherfuckers, and it's like, I was like, hold on. It's like, did he just connect it? Like, hold on, you having trouble connecting, and it's not him that's struggling.
No, it's the listener that's struggling.
Right, you struggling. He not struggling. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Ohio okay with the super chat says M hasn't grazed the surface of Big L's catalog, and M's been in the game 20 plus years. Well, I think we can move on to the next thing since I don't know what to say to that. I mean, I like Big L. I wish Big L could have given us more. I think Big L, his style was so identifiable with an era. I would have loved to have heard how he would have evolved over time. Because, you know, when you listen to Cam and how his flow evolved, Mace too. And I remember Cam posted this video of him when he was 19, the way he was rhyming. Very Big L-ish. You could tell all those guys were rhyming in that cadence. And all of those guys switched it up because that flow that Big L had was synonymous with an era. So I would have been very interested to see how Big L would have changed that flow up moving forward. Because I know he would have. All of his counterparts did.
Well, I'll tell you this. You want to know what was kind of funny about L? Was that L kind of had like Kane's flow.
Yeah. Updated version, kind of.
Yeah, it was kind of an updated version of Kane's flow. And so that's why when you hear them on Platinum Plus, it's like, oh, that's beautiful. Because it's like you can tell where he got his style from. But so think about it. But he's in Harlem with that style. You feel me? And he's actually taking the style that Kane took, and the dudes in Harlem is following it. And so think about it. When you're hearing his first album, oh, well, think about who's on there. Cameron, Mace, Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
And so when you're hearing Jay on Reasonable Doubt, had niggas thinking I was from uptown for real.
Yeah.
I had so much hustle. Plus I was down the ill. Like a Brooklyn nigga. Straight up
out of Brownsville. Down and dirty.
Down to
right
the
to
round
30. Jeez. Jay with the balls. Born King.
What time it is, Mike? That's what I'm saying. Mike, do M got shit like that we can just recall off the top of our head and go recite and go back to and be like, this nigga's nice right here. You see how quick I just recited that J bar? That's what I'm talking about when you got it. You see how I recited that Prodigy bar? That's what it's like when you got it, Mike.
I'm going to say this. M is nowhere near Jay-Z's level.
Mike, I don't even know if he's Prodigy's level. That's what I'm saying. Is like you talking like what level you talking about?
No, Prodigy's better than Eminem too.
Huh?
Prodigy's better than Eminem too.
That's what I'm saying.
But somebody could make a debate with it based on the records and the albums and all that stuff. But when it comes to Jay, you're not even on that level. I'm sorry. Born King with the super chat says Master Killer does that in his verses sometimes, and it doesn't rhyme, but it's still fire. He's right. Master Killer does do that.
My mob is infamous. It's like a fucking title ring. You get back slapped so hard, make your nose bleed. I'm like, that doesn't even rhyme. Why does it sound great? Wave. Why does it sound great? Why does it sound great? It doesn't even rhyme. Why does it sound great? What is this guy doing?
That's when you have total control of the mic. You're a master of your ceremony at that point.
Master of ceremonies. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're controlling the situation.
36 Chambers with the super chat says, these flows switch ups are a big reason I think that JID is one of the best MCs in the newer class of the last decade. Love it when an MC can swap rhyme schemes 6 times in a song like that, riding every pocket. That is very dope. LP with the super chat says, that's why Nas is so great. He has the multi-syllables, but the substance is still there, and he doesn't sacrifice the message for the words like others do. It's a fair point. Billy Barnes with the super chat says, snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, he's so whack. But the stanza like faculty. See, bars. Jay Short with the super chat says, Biggie had the Rudy Ray Moore effect. Captivating. He did.
Right.
Biggie was captivating on the mic, and I think You Can't Stop the Rain is a great example of that. I think Victory is a great example of that. When Jay always tells that story about how he loves the fact that Puff is rhyming his heart out on there and Big's just warming up in the back. You know what I'm saying? Like, check my mic. And this and that. It's like the disrespect. And then he comes in there and kills it. I love his victory.
You ask for permission to hit him.
Yeah. Ain't like me, hit him while his wifey was with him. You heard of us, the murder of us, most shady. Been on the low lately. The feds hate me.
It's the first 4 bars.
Said my killing so
what
late.
I'm trying to say? Like, what the hell? Like, stop that. That's exciting. That's what I be talking about when shit get exciting. The way he starts off.
It's like, man.
He's breathtaking.
Yeah, he is. Incredible, man. Even his verse on All About the Benjamins, even though everybody has such stellar verses on there, he commands that stage with all of those great verses on there. Kim has one of her all-time great verses. Puff has his greatest verse on Benjamins. You know, Sheik might have his greatest appearance on that song. But
that
Biggie
might be his
comes
best star appearance on a song.
Yeah.
Like, as far as, like, a big record. But, yeah.
But Big's like, listen close as Francis, the praying mantis.
Attack with the left, my right hand spit, Mac hand, left hand grip on the whip for the smooth getaway.
Player haters get away.
On my lead will spray.
I think the best line on that whole song is "Fuck a state pen, fuck
hoes at Penn State." Right?
What?
Bars. Fuck the state pen, hoes at Penn State. Listen close as Francis, the praying mantis. It's like what? It's like what did he just do? It's like hold on, guys wasn't rapping like that. You know what that came from? That was like him, on Kicking the Door. Yeah. He was like, you seen me in D.C. at Howard Homecoming with my man Capone drumming fucking something. You should know my Steve-Lo went from 10 G's a blow to 30 G's a show to all G's with hoes I never seen before. So, Jesus, lay off the notorious peanuts before I squeeze and bust. If the beef between us, we can settle it with the chrome and metal shit. I make it hot like a kettle get. You're delicate. You better get who sent you. You still pedal shit. I got more ride than Great Adventure. Eminem don't have shit like that, Mike. God damn, that nigga was nice. That's what I'm saying. When you just hear him rapping, you like,
yeah,
that guy. Give me that. It's like when you watch Randy Moss run and jump, Mike. It's like, no, I'm gonna take that guy. They're like, but he has behavioral problems and he smokes weed. It's like, okay, give me that guy and his little brother. Does his little brother smoke weed too? We're buying an ounce instead of a half.
I've been had skills. Cristal spills. High bills in Brazil. A lot of Miller Ice Grill. Yeah. Jay Short with the super chat says, what's y'all favorite guilty pleasure album? I love traditional hip hop, but I gotta play some from New Jack City every month.
Migos Culture. Culture One by Migos. That's always been my guilty pleasure. T-shirt, Dad and Bougie. It's like it's everything that my hip hop pure soul is against. The shit sounds so great.
I don't know if I could say guilty pleasure on any of these, but I love Honcho Jack when Quavo and Travis Scott did their album together. And it's funny, man. I was waiting on that album for like a year. And when they finally dropped it, nobody really paid attention to it, but I still listen to it. Honcho Jack is a classic. Yeah, I said it. Anyway, people said Culture One is a classic. There we go.
It's still my guilty pleasure because it's not like the type of album that I normally like put on that level and ride to. But I love some Culture One. Yeah.
Who made the better album this year, Method Man or Czarface?
I put them both on the same level, but I mean, I would say Ty probably goes to Meth because
The
he's
bar
Meth.
work.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's not like the bar work's not there on Czarface too, but Meth is like.
I think Meth's bar work was extra special on this album.
Me too. That's what I'm saying. So it's like I felt like both of the albums. So this is one of those things that made me want to separate the ratings by a tenth of a point because it's like, well, I would probably give Meth a 4.2 and give Czarface a 4.1.
Okay.
You feel me?
Ransom and Shay Noir. We kind of talked about that. Actually, we did cover that last episode. Megan or Lotto?
See, okay, so here's the thing about it, is that I know Megan sounds better, but I found myself to enjoy the Lotto album more. Why does the Lotto album sound like it's more fun? And I mean that in a happy way, that I usually don't enjoy this happy shit.
I think Lotto made better songs, and I think that she covered more relevant topics.
But Megan's a better rapper, and you can hear that Megan's a better rapper.
I think that Megan finally found production that, you know, she went back to the Tina Snow days and the Fever days. And
right. She went back into the well.
Yeah.
And that's so what this is kind of like, how about this? It's good to talk about her music and not about all the side story and extra and this, that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what we're here for. We're here for the music.
No, right. That's mostly why we're here for. I mean from her perspective.
Oh, I got you.
Made, right. I think
because she does dip into that.
It's dope, she's made a dope enough album that we need to be talking about her album.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think Lotto album is better.
I think they're very close, but I agree with you.
But here's the thing about it. Do you think either one of these albums is really a 4?
I think they both could be 4s.
I'm cool with giving them both 4s, but just for separate reasons. But I can't give it more than a 4 for each.
Okay.
Because the 4 for Megan would be more like a resurgence, and the 4 for Lotto would be more like a coming out.
I agree. It's
kind of like how they should have did maybe that whole Tribe and Black Star thing. It's like, no, 4 for you. 4 for you too. Neither one of you made a classic, but nice little transition we may have going on. Now, here's what I'll tell you. If Lotto can get some of that technical ability that Megan has and can keep some of this song structure and kind of fun vibe, because it seems like she's having a good time, so the fun vibe kind of comes off organically, is pleasing. Or if she can keep that and become a better rapper.
I think that a lot of the times when Lotto tried to go hard on this album, where, you know, as far as rapping goes, like you said, she wasn't as convincing as somebody like Megan, who is clearly very comfortable in her style. Like, I think that's the strong point to Megan's album, is the fact that her flow is on point and she's convincing and she's spitting. Like you said, there's not a lot of people, period, that could pull off a lot of the flows that she pulled off on this album.
No, I'm with you. Now, hold on 1 second. What was the first one that we went through? We talked about, because the Czarface is a 4.1, the Meth is a 4.2. We're giving Lotto and Megan a 4, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm just making sure I got everything because I'm in my list for the year, so I got everything.
Yeah, we got to document this stuff. NDU Jams with the super chat says, Coop, what do you think about Pasta Noose and Trugoy? An interview where Daddy O stated that those two are better MCs from Long Island, even better than Rakim. At some point, we need to talk about De La Soul. We talk about De La Soul all the time, and I love De La Soul.
So first of all, we do more. This is what I'm saying when people be like, we don't like the conscious guys. It's like, I don't be hearing these other guys talk about De La and Lupe and Tribe and shit the way that we do.
I think we said a few episodes back, or maybe it was on the Patreon, I'm not sure, but we said that De La may have album for album the best group catalog.
The best group catalog, period. And that includes Outkast and Tribe.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Prince Paul, in my opinion, is one of my favorites, but I think he's the most underappreciated producer ever in hip hop. Now, as far as Pasta Noose
and Trugoy are brilliant. They are not Rakim next.
No, they're not. I was gonna say that, and I love Pasta Noose and Trugoy. I think Pasta Noose could be the best lyricist in that whole camp.
In the native tongues?
In the native tongues, yes.
Yes, he is the best lyricist in the native tongue. Pasanusa is the best lyricist in the native tongues, yes.
But Rakim, no, we got to stop that.
Right. Like Q-Tip has the best voice and delivery. Pasanusa has the best lyrics.
Yeah. Ryan Gillen with the super chat says, who has the better voice, Megan or Rhapsody? I'm going Megan, man. I'm not a big fan of Rhapsody's voice.
I'm going Megan, too.
Billy Bars with the super chat said, only thing undefeated is time. Second is the internet. Number 3 is the rhyme. Nas, still bar of the year. Y'all want to give Magic a 2022 candidacy, I see. Y'all told us we couldn't do that last year. They said it came out in 2021. We're going to rate it for 2021.
Right. What's our next?
KRS and Fife.
Right. So these are both. I picked KRS and Fife because these are two guys that come from a different era than probably, a lot of our audience is familiar with. Now, originally, we gave the KRS a 4 and gave the Fife a 4.25.
I think KRS's performance is better, but he's KRS. But I think sonically and well put together, I would have to give the Fife album the nod.
It is, but I'm not sure if it's 4.25-ish. That's what I mean. If we're changing the rating, because how about this? If it's a 4.2, we're saying that it's as good as the Meth album. You feel like it's as good as the Meth album?
I don't.
You feel like it's right closer to the Czarface at a 4.1?
I think so.
Okay. So we're going to give it a 4.1 and take it down a little bit, but still excellent effort, especially excellent. This is actually one of the better posthumous efforts that you'll find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Born King with the super chat says, Daddy O has been bugging, has a bug in his ass about Rakim. Wonder what that's about. Interesting. LP with the super chat says Prince Paul.
Isn't Daddy O cool with Eric B though?
Probably.
Well, there could be some of that right there. If memory serves, I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that, but I thought Daddy O and Eric B used to be cool.
LP says Prince Paul had a woo sound before woo. True.
Where you think RZA got it from? That's why RZA called Prince Paul for grave diggers. Exactly. We all know that.
Prince Paul's that dude, man.
That's that shit.
And you know what? And I will say this too, and you can hear it on Tribe's first album. Prince Paul's influenced Q-Tip too.
I can see that as well. Yes, I can see that.
Very modest individual, man. Very modest individual.
I think he's just an introvert. I don't even know if he's modest. He's just introverted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like Pharrell before Pharrell or something.
There we go. Kind of sort of like that. Yeah. Media was different back then,
Right. Vince Staples and Lloyd Banks.
Thought this was fascinating. I think Ramona Park is the best album this year that nobody's talking about, Mike.
I like Ramona Park a lot. I'll be honest, though, I haven't listened to it, and probably because we have so much music to listen to.
Well, we have that problem, but I felt like he's doing himself. Like, how about this? Today would have been the perfect day for him to drop.
I agree.
I feel like he's always dropping at the wrong time.
Yeah. He needs to drop, or he should have dropped this project in particular on a day where it was all about him.
Right, because he can make the type of album where he can make it all about him, and we can talk about it more. I gave it a 4.25 originally. I'm cool with keeping it at the 4.2. I think it's as good as Mess album, maybe even possibly better.
I'm with you on that. I like Ramona Park a lot.
I would lean closer to a 4.3 than a 4.2, but this is why I wanted to do the scale because I'm not certain of that, and so I'm cool with that 4.2 in that meth range.
Well, this isn't the final. At the end of the year, we're gonna round these up again and stuff, or towards the end of the year rather.
Yeah, we just need to see, and also too, we need to also cover the fact it's like we didn't cover the Action Bronson 2 album, the Cypress Hill album, or the Earl Sweatshirt Sick album, or the Dirk album. So we need to rate all those at some point too.
Okay, cool.
Did Wale drop something?
I think Wale dropped last year, right?
Okay. No, I think he might have dropped something else this year. Let me look while we get to the next thing.
Okay.
Because I feel like we need to give Wale a rating too.
Of course. If he did come out with something this year, he's like damn near back to back.
It was earlier in the year.
It was earlier in the year? Okay.
If it was, hold on.
Or late last year. Lloyd Banks.
Oh, let me see. The original rating. See, here's my thing with Lloyd, and I love Lloyd. I gave it a 4.
I think a 4 is fair.
I don't love how his projects don't hold for me, as in I can't find the record or two or three that I consistently want to go back to that make me want to go hear the project over again. Does that make sense?
It makes a whole lot of sense to me. Jay Short says, thanks for ruining cheat codes, Mike. What do you mean?
What kind of shit is that? What Kanye?
what do you mean? I said cheat codes was gonna be album of the year. I think I was wrong, but let's see.
I think you might be wrong on September 30th.
Okay. Nah, he came out last year. Wale came out last year.
Right, no, I just checked. I'm just scratching him off my list. I had heard a buzz that he might drop. Oh, okay. Georgia and Mudrow drop. I'm listening, Mike. Where are we at?
We're at Lloyd Banks still, right? What did you end up keeping that with?
I mean, I'm cool with the 4. It's just I don't know how to feel about the 4, to be quite honest with you, because nothing, like, the songs are dope, and I know the songs are dope.
I think you should have had Joey there. I think you should have had Joey there up with Vince Staples.
You want to know what? I missed the fact that I should have had Joey there, and that was a misstep on my part, and you're right. But I wanted Lloyd to get some love because I feel like he deserves it as a lyricist for the work that he's been putting in and, like, kind of establishing himself, like, post the 50 and G Unit thing as, like, a true solo artist.
I still think Joey's album, even though I was slightly let down, I think it's better than Lloyd Banks' album.
I do, too, but that's kind of why I'm funny about that 4, because I don't think Joey's album is better than a 4.
You wouldn't give Joey a 4.1?
Based on what, Mike? You think so? You're saying it's as good as the Czarface? Is that what you're saying? I guess it is. No, that's fair.
It had its moments on it.
I was just expecting more, too, but I don't want to be unfair because I was expecting more.
Right. I was expecting more of a 4.6 from Joey. We didn't get that.
I told you, he was one of the people that I thought could potentially make album of the year. And, like, when I heard the album, I was like, okay, so this is not going to be album of the year, but it's pretty good.
Yeah. So,
you know what we forgot, Mike? We forgot the Elzhi and Georgia Ann Muldrow project that came out on March 11th called Zeitgeist that people was telling us to check out. We need to rate that, too.
Oh, yeah. I got to check that out. You know I'm an Elzhi fan.
I know. I'm putting that in the notes for you.
One of the most talented
Elzhi, Georgia Ann Muldrow, because I heard that shit was fire, and I know how you feel about Elzhi. So we need to go back and do a rating for that.
I think I did hear that though, Coop. I think I might have told you about it. Hold on, let me look this up. I liked it, from what I remember.
Okay, maybe I did.
Yep. I did hear this. That you are. Yeah, this shit's tight. No, I heard this.
Okay. Might have been you.
But yeah, you listen to it too, and we'll talk about it. When we get a chance to. And
have you heard the Dirk album?
I haven't heard the Dirk album.
Okay, we missed the Dirk album and the Earl Sweatshirt Sick album, Cypress Hill, Action Bronson too. So we're still missing 2 albums.
Okay.
Now, go ahead to the next one. Where were you?
All right, the next one is going to be Logic and Paul Wall and Terminology.
Okay, so what?
I like Vinyl Days, man. I had Vinyl Days ranked very high. You did.
How high do you have Vinyl Days, Mike?
Oh, man. See, Vinyl Days is one of those technical things. And it's interesting because the Paul Wall and Terminology is not one of those technical things.
It's not. That shit sounds great,
I actually feel the Terminology and Paul Wall more than I do Vinyl Days.
Correct.
Jay Short with the Super Chat says, now hear what you were saying on cheat codes too. Textbook. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. That's tough, man. I think both of them are very good albums.
But where would you place them? Because I'm gonna tell you how I had the Logic. I had the Logic originally as like a 3.75.
Why? The bar work is crazy on there. I can't take the bar work from him. He's a technical guy. The production's good too. The features are good on there too. You just don't feel it.
Want to give him a 4?
There has to be a rating.
I told you what Rakim's most important song may end up being in the long run when it's all said and done is I Know You Got Soul. Because it's a 4-letter word. Make you lose control, your body to dance. You got it, soul.
There has to be a rating system for people who make all this technically proficient music, but you don't feel it. And I think 4 is sufficient for that.
Yes, there is. It's called Celine Dion, and you can go get a nice little show in Vegas with it. But like in hip hop, the shit's not gonna work. We need to feel that shit. So
Born King says, what about Planet Asia, Medallion's Monarchy? Haven't heard that. We can add that to the list.
Planet Asia dropped the album this year.
Guess so, yeah. D.
Wow,
Douglas
I
Vicker.
didn't even know they were still doing shit.
D. Douglas Vicker says, have you heard the 5EO remix of God Did? It sounds like a diss tape. Haven't heard that. Got to check it out. People say the logic's not believable. Man, I think 4
did just drop something.
I think 4 is sufficient. It's very difficult for me, man, because it's like the guy did everything right. Listen, this is the best Logic album I've heard, and I'm not really a big Logic fan like that.
I'm sorry, Mike. I'm yawning. What were you saying?
Okay. What about the Paul Wall and Terminology? That's more of a 4-3, I feel. I like that project.
Okay, so here's where maybe I was being hard. See, originally I had the Logic at a 3.75, and I had the Paul Wall and Terminology as a 4. But I think the Paul Wall and Terminology is better than almost every album that we've talked about. I'm not sure if it's better than Vince Staples' Ramona Park, though.
I think it's on that level. I think those are very similar.
So that means it'd be more of a 4.2 than a 4.3, because that put it with Meth and Vince.
Okay. I'm okay with that. And Meth is
I'm not
getting that
putting it ahead of Meth and
bar
Vince's album necessarily, but it feels really good. And that's what I mean. So this is how things get rated. It's like, well, Joey got a 4.1, but we were kind of disappointed in that 4.1. Paul Wall and Terminology got a 4.2. Oh, I'm surprised and happy about that 4.2.
Right.
Right.
Well, on to the next one. We got Shay and Dreamville.
Oh, we got who? Who we got?
DJ Shay.
Oh yeah.
Dreamville.
That DJ Shay go hard, Mike.
It does go hard.
I gave that where is it? I gave the Dreamville a 4.25 originally. Now I will tell you this. I think this Dreamville album is better than album we talked about so far, and so I'm going to 4.3 on that.
That Dreamville is hard.
The Dreamville hard. I damn near want to go to 4.4. That shit hard. Yeah. It's like a borderline outside album of the year type of contender, and like albums like that aren't supposed to be album of the year contenders. That's how dope that shit is.
I like the Dreamville a lot. I'm okay with the 4.4.
I'm okay with the 4.4 too. That shit's a banger.
There's a lot of talent on there, and all the talent is flexing their talents on there.
Hold on. The talent flex their talent at what the talent was good at.
Yep.
I told you the only misstep is Cole not jumping on the Who Shot You beat, because if he jumps on that beat, Mike, this is going from a 4.4 to a 4.5 the way he's been rapping. Straight like that.
Right. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, I know Coop disagrees, but No Fear of Time compares favorably to the last few albums of the year to me. The future sound of hip hop and better than a 4.5 in my opinion. Listen, 36, I'm right there with you.
Hold on, 36. I'm with
you 100%. I put it right there with the other 3 albums that we always discuss.
First of all, both of y'all have a lot of nerve coming from me like that. I'm the one that came up on this show and gave it a 5. You wanted to give it a 4.
No, you're the one that came to me and told me it was great. You heard it before I did.
I did. I told you that shit was some 5. I told Yoga Fire Flame. Yeah. Remember Street Fighter 2? Yoga Fire Flame. That's what I heard. I was like, this is like the first time I played Street Fighter with Dawson. I was like, I didn't know the nigga could move like this.
Yeah.
It's like, it was like that. But what I keep telling you is that how can we place an album so high that people haven't heard? So I originally gave it a 5. Now here's why I went down on it. 1, they have a very solid point about some of the engineering / vocals.
Right.
So I'm going to take it down for that, because Pray for Paris, Alfredo, and Magic don't have no production or engineering problems whatsoever.
And we don't know if it's the app or if it's just the engineering.
Well,
we don't know.
The second problem would be the app itself and people not having access to it.
But see, on top of the engineering thing, it's not a music app. So we can't compare it to anything else that's on that.
So we don't even know what to make of it. Now, you and I came up on this show after we heard it, after you had heard it, And I told you, Mike, I can remember the text message. I was like, Mike, I said, this is some next shit. I said, I feel like this is what's next. And after you heard it, you were like, Coop, I feel the same way. I was like, I think this is album of the year. You're like, I do too. And in my heart, I still feel that way. But if we're according to hip hop, for the people, by the people, and the motherfucking people ain't heard it.
It's the best album I heard all year.
It is the best album I've heard all year, but is it a 5?
I'm okay with giving it a 5, but if it's a 4.8 or something, I'm cool with that. LP with the super chat says, Bay Love, Contra Costa, and Simba need the shine. LOL.
Okay.
Let's see.
Contra and Simba.
Okay. Let's see. Jay Short with the super chat says, any expectations for was it Carter 6 or T.I.? Is it Cater 6? We meant Carter 6 or T.I. No expectations at all, to be honest.
Okay, so here's what I'll tell you, Mike. First of all, for the way that I've heard heads complain about Moses' performance, don't think we can give it a 5.
No, that's fair.
About some of the potential engineering quibbles, can't give it a 5. And about the fact, and when I go back and listen to it, see, here's the thing about it. In order for this album to be what it's supposed to be, people are going to have to hear what Madlib is doing production-wise and love it the way that we do. And what I find people doing with this album is telling me that, well, they're like, oh, the beats on Bandana are better. You know what I mean? Like other stuff that he's done. And that's a problem for giving something this type of rating. But I'm cool still with it being the album of the year because I think even with all that being said, I'm okay with a 4.8 because I know what I heard was brilliant.
Yeah. May not be perfect or whatever, but it makes it tougher to even get. There's a few things that make it tough to gauge, right? A, people don't have access to it. B, it's on some next shit and people don't have access to it, so we don't know how people are actually responding to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
we don't. How about this? The aggregate data that we're able to collect, we're not able to create very many bell-shaped curves. We can only create 1 or 2 curves because only a certain nuance and type of fan and hip-hop head and media outlet and critic has even put their hands on this.
Yeah.
We don't even know what the true numbers look like. I just know that the heads have heard it and the heads have said engineering issues, most issues, Madlib issues. That makes me want to give it a 4.7, but I feel it's next level, so I'm going to push it back up to 4.8.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair.
What about the DJ Shay?
I hear a 4.5, Mike. Or a 4. How about this? When I heard this, I don't think it's better than the Dreamville, I don't think, but I think it's right there. So if the Dreamville is a 4.4, I immediately thought of this. I was like, we got to compare this Dreamville to this Shay. I was like, I think they just did the same thing for their set. Both of these albums, it's like, this is what I mean. These are real gang. This is what your crew does and doing what your crew does best on both sides.
Dreamville's having a great year.
Dreamville's having a stellar year, Mike. Yeah. They got Earth Gang, JID, this album, and have you heard Ari Lennox's new album?
Haven't heard it. It's dope.
That shit banging, Mike.
I bet it is.
Yeah, shit.
Check it out.
Yeah, it's fine.
4.3 for Shay.
You cool with 4.3?
I'm cool with 4.3.
Do you think it's as good as the Dreamville, or you think Dreamville still got it by a little bit?
I think the Dreamville's better, but I think it's not too far behind.
Me neither, and I kind of want to give it some more time to see how it grows because some of the bar work, I found the bar work to be, and I mean this in a glowing way for Dreamville, it's like, well, I found the bar work to be very comparable, and I felt like the Dreamville album was a little bit more of a cohesive effort, but I was more surprised about what the Shay did because here's the reality of that matter, Mike. I think that the Shay album might be the best album that's come out of the Griselda camp so far this year. Right.
Better than Tana Talk 4?
It might be right. That's what I'm saying. So let's have that conversation soon. Because we just gave it a 4.3. So think about that.
Well, I got to see all the ratings, lined up.
You want me to run down the ratings right quick that we have for the year?
Yeah, before we get up out of here, yeah.
Saba, A Few Good Things, we gave a 4. Oh, that's one we need to do. Currency and Alchemist with Continuous. We gave that a 4.25. What would you say that is? Like, do you think the Shay is better than that? Because we just gave the Shay a 4.3 and Dreamville a 4.4.
I think the Shay is better than that.
Me too.
I think 4.2 is fine.
4.2? Yeah. We gave God Don't Make Mistakes. We gave that a 4.
I think we're being too tough on that.
4.1 or 4.2? Because I'm not going higher than that on it.
I'd say 4.1.
Me too. We gave the Benny Tana Talk 4.25. Are we being too tough again?
Man, we were supposed to play both of those on the Patreon, but we
Right.
ended up doing something else, which was cool. But
how about this?
Let's get back to that.
For the albums that we have at 4.2, I think the Benny album's better than that.
Okay.
I think
cool
Benny's better than the Meth. I think it's better than the Paul Wall and Terminology. And those are the 4.2s. And the Vince Ramona Park, no, Tana Talk 4, Currency and Alchemist. No, I think Tana Talk 4 is better than that. But my question to you would be, is it better than the Shay album? Is it better than the Dreamville album?
I think it's better than the Shay album, but not the Dreamville album.
I would say that it's not that much a difference between. It's somewhere in between both of those albums, but I think more on the 4.4 side.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Okay, we got KRS got a 4. Earth Gang Ghetto Gods and JID. Did we do that?
Yeah, we did those.
Okay, what do we 4.5 for both? Is that what that was?
No, I don't think.
I don't think we rated them. That's what I'm saying. We talked about it, but we didn't rate it.
I think Ghetto Gods is significant. I won't say significantly better in that sense, but you know what I mean. I would say it's more of a 4.6 to 4.4 type of situation.
Who JID versus? So hold on, you think the Ghetto Gods is a 4.6?
Yeah. So
you think it's like a couple hashes worse than the Black Star, like almost but not quite?
I mean, if it's a 4.7, I'm not mad at that either. I think the Ghetto Gods is very dope.
Me too. I want to say we'll stay at 4.6 for now, but I think that's something that may end up being a 4.7. We'll see how it grows. And you got the JID at a 4.4, so you have that. So you think the JID is pretty much as good as the Dreamville album?
Yeah, if not better.
I feel
it may be better. I think it's only issues with missteps, really. And even those missteps aren't that bad.
What if I were to tell you? What if I were to tell you I think that it's actually one step better than the Dreamville album?
I think it is. I you know what? If you say that, I agree with you. I think about 4.6 or so.
No, I would. How about this? Is what I mean when Dreamville's having a good year. I would put the Dreamville album as a 4.4. I would put JID as a 4.5, and I would put Earth Gang as a 4.6, with all of them the potential to potentially go up one spot.
Okay.
Like in terms of like a 4.4 to a 4.5, 4.5 to a 4.6, 4.6 to a 4.7. I
got you.
Yeah.
This is all difficult stuff, people.
Okay, so last one, Che and Ransom. We're both 4.5s. Are we still right there at the 4.5? Because that puts it on JID's level.
I think both of those albums are slightly better than JID's album.
Me too. And that's why I was telling you, I think that the Ghetto Gods might be a 4.7.
Uh-huh.
Because I think their album's better than Ransom's albums, definitely, but I'm not sure if it's better than Che's album. So what do you think of Che's albums? Because I think Ransom's album is better than JID's album, but not by much. So I'll give it a 4.6. But I don't think that Che or that Earth Gang is a 4.6. I think the Che and the Earth Gang are 4.7s.
I'm fine with that. Because I think the Che is special.
I don't think she's getting enough love, Mike, for making this special rap album.
Yeah.
Like this, remember I was telling you that like Eve is the best female rap album I've actually heard, like conceptualized and finished song to song, beginning end to end. When I listen to Che Noir's album Food for Thought, I don't necessarily feel that way. It's like I know how I feel about Funkdafied and hardcore as a young teenager and a fan of both. But when I'm hearing Che spit the way she's spitting on Food for Thought, I'm like,
yeah.
Like, what do you want her to do? Like, cause she doing it. Like, whatever you want an MC to do, she out here doing. Like, what you want her? What you want an MC to do?
The production's there. The content's there. The production's there. The delivery. She's killing.
Guest appearances are there, Mike. The structure is there. Mm-hmm. Look like somebody A&R'd her ass a little bit, or she just got great taste.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, great stuff, man. Everybody.
So we got Black Star in first place, and Earth Gang and Che Noir are tied for second place right now.
What about
we didn't do Black Thought. Where's Black Thought in all this?
I was gonna say that. I think that's right there with Ghetto God.
Me too. So we got a 3-way tie at second because so pretty much we just got Black Star a joint ahead of the Thought, the Che, and the Earth Gang. So they got comp.
And that's KD3 fair. On the way. Gibbs on the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we're waiting for right now. We're waiting for KD3 and Soul sold separately. I think those are the two last big contenders. Unless somebody's going to hit us with a haymaker. I told you, Mike, I'm waiting for Cole to come out of nowhere this year and be like, this is our year. We're going to finish this Dreamville job with my album, like fourth quarter. That's what I would love to see. Like the Carolina in me is like, oh, y'all just dropped Dreamville, JID, Earth Gang. Like, Mike, that's literally North Carolina and Atlanta. Yep. Like, where have I grown up my whole life? I want to see them win more than anybody else. That's both of my homes.
Drill Music in Zion, where was that at?
Oh, we were supposed to do that against Next to the Lupe. I mean, how about this? I would have that. I think that and the Ransom are at the same level at about a 4.5. What do you think?
Okay, I think that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, everybody have a great weekend, man. We're going to get up out of here, man. This has been a great show. We covered a lot.
It has, man. We have fun on this one. Sometimes it's more fun when we don't have music, but I prefer to hear some great music, you know?
Right. It's time for music now.
No, it is, you know.
Salute everybody. Appreciate y'all rocking with us. The Patreon's up at the top. Hit that. Rock with us there, too. It's going down.
Yep. Like, subscribe to the page.
Yes. Like, subscribe to the page. Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Yep.